Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show.
Boom boom. The speedy golden eagle and Su Lin are both speed beasts that stand at the pinnacle of this world. The speed of the golden eagle, which entered a violent state, and Su Lin, who had activated his hunting talent, could reach speeds of more than 20,000 meters per second, and a huge sonic boom roared across the sky and the earth. The figures are all dreamlike, like a stream of light. Once it moves, even the most sophisticated radar on the ultimate mecha warrior can't keep up. The radar also showed that the two sides were dozens of miles away, but in fact they were already approaching. Dang, there was a huge collision sound. The tyrannical energy fluctuations also swept around like a stormy sea, and the bright silver fluorescence and the hot blood red fluorescence were intertwined. The fluorescence of the original power of both sides is fighting with each other, trying to devour and destroy each other. Boom. The sound of energy explosions also sounds from time to time. The collision between Su Lin and the speedy golden eagle was definitely the first confrontation between the most powerful beasts in the world today. An all-out confrontation at the world-destroying level is more terrifying than a nuclear explosion caused by a nuclear bomb. The energy fluctuations caused by both sides swept hundreds of miles in an instant. All species are fleeing and hiding in panic. Some who had no time to hide were instantly shattered into blood mist by this energy wave. Such an energy aftermath is enough to severely damage a near-king-level mutant creature. During the duel, the blood-red wings all over the body of the speedy golden eagle vibrated together, and wisps of blood-red mist began to surround Su Lin. This is the manic poison. That is the talent of the speedy golden eagle. This poison is pervasive and different from ordinary toxins. As long as the manic poison invades the body, the opponent will lose consciousness and turn into a killing machine. And it's also a killing machine dominated by the speedy golden eagle. This manic poison is similar to Su Lin's spiritual talent Soul Link, but compared to the Soul Link talent, manic poison is more domineering. There is no need to crush the spirit power at all. As long as it enters the opponent's body, it can invade all the nerves. Even species with vast original power can only suppress it at best, but cannot completely eliminate the poison of mania. When the fast golden eagle killed the terrifying crocodile on the seabed that had entered the world-destroying level, this manic poison suddenly played an extremely important interference role. The speedy golden eagle knows that it cannot turn the Arctic Wolf King into a killing puppet under its command with just a manic poison, but it wants to use the invasion of this manic poison to cause interference. After the manic poison invades, a massive amount of original power is needed to suppress it. At that time, the Arctic Wolf King, who cannot reach the peak of his original power, will be equivalent to cutting off an arm. Buzz. The red and restless gas emitted from the vibration of the wings of the fast golden eagle became more and more, and these gases also rushed towards Su Lin's mouth and nose. Seeing the blood-red mist, Su Lin felt various negative emotions such as killing, madness, sea of blood, etc. Even though he had the gift of healing, that was invulnerable to all poisons, he did not take any chances. The original power of his body was closed, forming an energy shield around his body. Boom. These blood-red mist collided with the energy shield of the original power, and there was a dull roar. Follow closely. These blood-red mist turned into lines, trying to break through the energy shield. At this time, the wrestling between the speedy golden eagle and Su Lin has reached its most critical moment. Both sides mobilized their peak combat power. Behind Su Lin, the 9-round silver moon is in the sky, even more dazzling. Even though it was just afternoon, and the sun had not set yet, the light of the 9 silver moons seemed to exceed that of the scorching sun. The silver source power, which is hundreds of meters long, is like an extremely sharp sword, cutting through the surrounding air. Boom. The vast energy flow is like a huge raging wave, constantly spreading to all directions. The speedy golden eagle on the opposite side has already entered a state of extreme violence. Not only has he activated the talent of manic poison, but he has also mobilized his original power to its peak. At this moment, a huge phantom of a divine phoenix appeared behind the fast golden eagle. This phantom of the divine phoenix made the sky seem to be on fire. The clouds with a radius of hundreds of miles were turned red by the phantom of the divine phoenix. The energy it brought out made the surrounding space tremble. This makes the phantom of the divine phoenix even more dreamlike and unreal. The fire-burning phoenix flies across the sky in September. This is a symbol of how they have brought their place of origin to its peak. The two sides below also fought to the limit, but in the end, the fast golden eagle's manic poison failed to break through Su Lin's original protective shield. Boom. With an indescribable sound of vast energy, the two sides completely separated. Su Lin suddenly retreated for more than 10 miles, and his thick wolf claws drew a very deep mark on the ground. A huge amount of gravel and dust rose up, falling scatteredly on the silver hair. At this time, Sulin's silver hair had already entered a defensive state, but just now the speedy golden eagle's vast and unrivaled blood-red original power still broke through the defense. His chest. There is a bloody wound that goes deep into the bones. Fortunately, the sternum is a secret bone, so even the full blow of the fast golden eagle only made a scratch on it. If it weren't for the secret bone, I'm afraid that the blow just now would have directly shattered the bone. The pain at the wound made Su Lin's scarlet wolf eyes even more ferocious. Ouch! An earth-shattering wolf howl resounded on the battlefield again, and this wolf howl was more violent than the one that had just shattered more than a dozen high-ranking servants of the gods, and seriously injured the black demon ferret. This is the double Sirius roaring moon. The sound of the Sirius howling moon passed along the way, directly shaking half of the Gobi Desert. Sand and dust swept across, and mountains and rocks collapsed into the sky under Su Lin's control. Most of the sound waves from the Sirius howling moon went straight towards the fast golden eagle flying in mid-air. In the fight just now, the two sides just fought to a draw. The speedy golden eagle was also severely injured by Su Lin, and dozens of blood-red wings fell scatteredly in mid-air. Don't underestimate the fact that there are just dozens of blood-red wings. You must know that during the battle with the terrifying crocodile, the speedy golden eagle only used a dozen wings to block hundreds of miles of sea. Therefore, you can imagine the heavy weight and vast energy of these dozens of blood-red wings. These dozens of red wings can even be used as the main material for 7 or 8 ultimate meshes. But now that it felt that the speedy golden eagle had suffered trauma, the giant flesh insect caught in its sharp claws also fought back again, biting the speedy golden eagle's neck with its huge mouth parts. Hiss! The sharp neighing sound also resounded throughout the world. At this time, the multi-purpose golden eagle encountered an unprecedented danger, because the death worm is also at the world-destroying level. Although he has been sleeping for too long, his strength has not yet returned to its peak. But the bottom line is here. Once bitten by that huge mouthpart with potent poison, even if you are immortal, you will have to shed your skin. This made the speedy golden eagle mobilize all its strength even more crazily, and even burned its energy and blood in order to gain stronger strength. In an instant, the red light emitted from the burning divine phoenix in mid-air became even more dazzling. It seemed like it was going to set the whole sky on fire. The golden eagle burned with rage for 9 days. The bloody sky looks like a beautiful picture. At this time, the speedy golden eagle suppressed the death worm again, and at the same time, he let out a monstrous sonic talent, and Sulin's wolf howling sound wave, and collided head-on. The sonic talent of the speedy golden eagle is also extremely powerful. This sonic talent also contains blood-colored fluorescence, which incorporates part of the original power into it. This is all self-realized beyond talent. It's like Su Lin's double heavenly wolf roaring the moon. The sonic talents of both sides are extremely fast, and the distance of nearly 100 miles can be covered in an instant. Boom! The huge sound wave cloud rose directly into the sky at the moment it hit. This sound wave cloud is stronger than the most powerful and most lethal nuclear weapon in human society. In an instant, the center of the collision turned into a vast expanse of white. Even though it was still more than 10 miles away from the ground, it still stirred up the ground, and it seemed as if it had been hit by an earthquake for hundreds of miles. Countless dust and smoke fill the sky. The mountains and rivers are sinking. The sun and the moon are without light. But the sonic duel was deadlocked for a moment, and finally the golden eagle was defeated with great speed. Boom! The remaining wolf howl sound waves bombarded the speedy golden eagle, directly knocking down hundreds of blood-red wings from the speedy golden eagle again. The chest is also exposed with strong fluorescent blood stains. The all-pervasive sound waves of the wolf howl were shaking the fast golden eagle's internal organs. Although it wouldn't explode like the black demon mink, it was still traumatized. Extreme pain spread throughout the body. The golden eagle has not experienced this kind of pain for who knows how long. It has always been proud of the world. Even when it hunted the terrifying crocodile, it didn't suffer much trauma. At the same time, because it was attacked by the wolf's howling sound wave, the suppression of the death worm was relaxed for a moment. This allowed the giant death worm's mouthparts to break through the speedy golden eagle's defense and bite directly on its throat. An even more violent roar resounded throughout the world. Boom! The fast golden eagle suffered 2 heavy blows from Su Lin and the death worm. It was also unstable and crashed onto a high mountain. It directly hit the mountain and caused half of it to collapse. The death worm also took advantage of this opportunity to completely break free from the shackles of the speedy golden eagle. It's just that it underestimates the speedy golden eagle that stands at the pinnacle of today's era. Accompanied by another angry roar, The speedy golden eagle's combat power is still at its peak even though it has been injected with so many toxins. The blood-red original power all over his body suppressed the death worm again. It was just a huge sonic boom, but it sounded again. Take advantage of his illness and kill him. When the fast golden eagle failed, Su Lin had already rushed over, a pair of scarlet. The wolf's eyes were full of murderous intent. Bang, another full blow. In this case, the fast golden eagle, that was hastily resisting had no way to compete and was directly knocked away for more than 10 miles. Blood and wings are flying everywhere. It's just that the extremely tyrannical and fast golden eagle, even though it has been reduced to this state, still has no fear at all. Those blood-stained eyes were so sharp. The fast golden eagle instantly activated another talent, and thousands of blood-red wings fell off its wings. Each wing is several meters long, and these wings form a long bloody dragon. This talent is very similar to the talent of the alien peregrine falcon in the place of adventure, which he finally used to fight for his life. It's just that this talent is more powerful and domineering than the talent of the alien peregrine falcon, and only using thousands of blood-red wings did not damage the foundation of the speedy golden eagle. Although this long bloody dragon could not match the combat power of the speedy golden eagle itself, it still had the combat power of a first-time high-level world-destroying level, and blocked Su Lin's subsequent pursuit. Although the speedy golden eagle's eyes were still full of ferocity and fighting spirit, he did not lose his mind, and continue to fight with Su Lin, because neither the death worm, that has not been completely suppressed, nor the injuries on its body support it from continuing to fight. So after the long bloody dragon blocked Su Lin, the fast golden eagle flapped its wings, and took to the sky again. And this time, reaching an altitude of tens of thousands of meters, a sound wave chirping once again swept through countless dust, sand and flying rocks, blocking the rest of the Arctic wolf pack members, who wanted to rescue Xiao Hui. At the same time, the chirping sound also caused the dozens of strange beasts brought by the branch to flee and return, because it's clear that the tide is over. In addition, we have obtained this death worm, that is 700 to 800 meters long, so we don't need these divine substances. But before leaving, the fast golden eagle, which had already ascended high into the sky, still looked at each other from the air with Su Lin. While looking at each other, the cold murderous intent between the two sides was revealed, and collided without any concealment. The belief of killing is also rising in the eyes of both parties. If they meet again next time, then there will definitely be an unparalleled and brutal showdown between them. At this time, the scene of the golden eagle taking off into the air and escaping with great speed was also clearly seen by a group of ultimate mecha warriors and beasts above the extreme king level. The speedy golden eagle was defeated. No one would have thought that this creature, which had always been considered the most powerful bird in the sky, and considered the most potential of all mutated creatures to fight to the death with a bloodthirsty python and a giant human skin tree, would actually be defeated. Many ultimate mecha warriors feel like they are in a dream. That was the most powerful bird and beast in the world. It was the being that once slaughtered the country, and it was the first being to kill the world-destroying beast. The minds of many ultimate mecha warriors were buzzing for a long time, before they gradually came to their senses. After coming back to his senses, his eyes were still full of shock, and he unconsciously looked at the Arctic Wolf King. At this moment, this giant silver-haired wolf, which was 70 or 80 meters tall, seemed to be an undefeated demon in their hearts. The deepest awe and fear also echo in the hearts of all the ultimate mecha warriors, as well as the onlookers such as the Steppen Wolf King, Hanchan King, Giant Sheep King and other clan kings. The dust has cleared. It's not just the Steppe Wolf King, Han Cicada King and other strongest beasts, who can see the scene in front of them clearly. Basically all the surviving alien beasts also saw the Arctic Wolf King, whose silver source power burst out hundreds of meters away. The current Arctic Wolf King has silver hair stained with blood, and the long blood-red dragon with its wings gathered together had been torn alive on the spot, with thousands of blood-red wings floating in the air. Many wings have flown to the Arctic Wolf King. With his silver hair stained with blood, his arrogance is even more monstrous. At this time, Su Lin took advantage of the remaining time of his last hunting talent, standing on the broken mountain and looking back. All the strange beasts that felt his gaze couldn't help but lower their heads, not daring to look at the Arctic Wolf King. This lowering of the head also shows that he does not dare to disobey. This laid the best psychological foundation for the subsequent gathering of Arctic wolves. The Prairie Wolf King, Han Cicada King, Giant Sheep King, and Mobai Sandworm King all possess extreme king-level combat power, and although most of their subordinates are dead, their essence is still there. Once conquered, more wolves will be added to the pack, and their combat power will be greatly improved. After all, in the beginning, These groups could still fight against hundreds of divine servants with king-level combat power, even if they were suppressed by the Black Demon Martin's secret skills. And just when all the tyrannical beasts bowed their heads and dared not look at each other, the remaining dozen ultimate mecha warriors and more than 200 perfect-level mecha warriors also landed from mid-air, and all of them saluted the Arctic Wolf King. Because the Arctic Wolf King is so strong, he deserves such respectful treatment from them. After all, how many people in the world are there who can surpass the speed of the Golden Eagle? In addition, after today's brief and fierce confrontation spreads, the rankings of mutant creatures will be refreshed again. The Arctic Wolf King will probably jump to the top 5. Today's extreme battle between the Divine Phoenix Burning Sky and the 9-wheeled Silver Moon will also become the hottest topic in human society. After all the mecha warriors saluted Su Lin, the leader, Lawa Winson immediately assigned 10 ultimate mecha warriors and 10 8th-generation killing fighters to the Arctic Wolves. Even the genetically modified warriors and killer fighter pilots were delivered to the Arctic Wolves. This is not an attempt to plant spies among the Arctic Wolves. It is simply a sign of goodwill, because in many cases, it is not possible to use and control the ultimate mecha and killing machine. Therefore, Lawa Winson delivered the genetically modified warriors and killing fighter pilots to the Arctic Wolves, which represented a lot of goodwill. Even with this group of genetically modified warriors and pilots, the human wolf pack is fully capable of training more qualified members under their guidance. At this time, except for Lawa Winson, who was directing the delivery of the ultimate mecha warriors and killing fighters, the rest of the ethnic groups did not dare to move rashly under the aura of Su Lin's powerful aura. Even Vincent is leading the various tribes of the wolf pack, surrounding and gathering the rest of the pack. None of the alien beasts in these groups resisted. Even if there were some strange beasts that didn't want to join the wolf pack, they didn't resist too fiercely. They just stood silently on the edge and wanted to watch their king's reaction. As for being allowed to leave just because you don't want to join, this kind of thing is only possible when human beings are firmly at the hegemony of the world and are driven by compassion and morality. In a bloody conflict in nature, nothing so humane would happen. If you don't surrender, you will die. No ethnic group will leave hidden dangers for themselves. However, the kings of these ethnic groups did not move rashly under the lock of Su Lin's aura. In the end, after the one-eyed wolf negotiated with the Steppe Wolf King for a while, the half-destroying Steppen Wolf King was the first to express his surrender. The wolves come to the same destination through different paths, whether it is Arctic wolves, prairie wolves, plains wolves, or even northern gray wolves. There is no language barrier or breeding barrier. After weighing the pros and cons, the Prairie Wolf King decided to lead the remaining mutant prairie wolves to surrender, because today it has deeply realized that in the true strangulation of the peak power game, their prairie wolves are nothing at all. He can't even stand up to these top powers, and will be killed instantly. If not for the strong presence of the Arctic Wolf King today, I'm afraid even it would be in trouble, let alone the wolves under his command. So the Prairie Wolf King took the lead in surrendering. The strongest among the wolves has always been respected, and it believes that with its own strength, the Arctic Wolf King will not treat it badly. With the submission of the Prairie Wolf King, the kings of other groups also submitted after thinking for a moment. Only the Mobei Sandworm King still doesn't want to surrender and wants to escape underground. The underground is the home of insects. Just like the sky is the home of birds and animals, the water is the home of marine life. After actually entering thousands of meters underground, no matter how powerful the Arctic Wolf King is, it will be difficult to find traces of it. It's just that it's too low for Su Lin's strength and speed. Just when the Sandworm King of Mobei made a sudden move, the sonic boom roared like thunder again on the already messed up battlefield. Boom! Even at this time, Su Lin's hunting talent has faded, but with the addition of the original power, it still has a speed of 7 or 8 kilometers per second. This speed has also reached more than 20 times the speed of sound, which is faster than the speed of a killing fighter plane. With the sound of a huge sonic boom, when the Mobei Sandworm King had just entered a few meters underground, Su Lin approached from more than 30 miles away. In 2 seconds, he ran more than 30 miles. Even though this was not the first time they had experienced such a shocking speed, all species could not help but feel shocked, especially the Han Cicada King and Steppe Wolf King. Along the way, they didn't even react at all. Only after a slight flash of the ultimate sense of danger from his powerful senses, the Wolf King passed by them, like a stream of light, leaving behind a cloud of dust, sand and gravel that filled the sky. Bang! With a heavy blow, Su Lin directly penetrated the ground for more than 10 meters, causing the Mobei Sandworm King, who was trying to escape underground, to be exposed in the air again. A thick wolf claw hit the body of the Mobei Sand Insect King, shattering its hardest insect armor. The Sandworm King of Mobei had suffered heavy losses during the burning of the bright sun, and the bloody fight between several high-ranking servants of the gods. Now being hit by Su Lin with such speed and full force, the internal organs that were protected by the original power were shattered in an instant. Puff, puff. The sound of blood and organs exploding sounded several times in succession. It's just that the Mobei Sandworm King has not died yet due to his tenacious vitality and original power. Still struggling desperately, the 6 huge claws of the Mobei Sandworm King were waving randomly, clawing out deep ravings on the ground. Hiss! The Mobei Sandworm King's pitiful wail with pain also came from Su Lin's claws. At this time, some alien desert sandworms heard the king's wails and neighing, and they all rushed over out of habit, trying to rescue their king. But these alien desert sandworms have no idea what kind of existence they are facing. Boom! As a cold light burst out from Su Lin's wolf eyes, the original power burst out instantly. The burst of original power turned into a shock wave like a blade, sweeping directly towards the surroundings. This shock wave completely suppressed the densely packed Mobei sandworms that were rushing towards him. In an instant, there was a bloody storm, and the broken limbs rose in the air. Within a few miles, all the Mobei sandworms that rushed over were killed instantly. In the face of life and death, unless they are unconscious, inanimate and intelligent species, they will not be afraid of death. Others will feel fear and fear of death. So after seeing a dense pile of similar species turned into minced meat in an instant, the other Mobei sandworms immediately did not dare to rush forward. Just let their king wail miserably under Su Lin's claws. The 6 thick branches were also scratching the ground hard, but even if they made deep scratches, they could not escape from Su Lin's claws. At this time, the Mobei Sandworm King had also expressed his desire to submit and surrender in his miserable wails. It's just too late. The Mobei Sandworm King, who had been severely injured to the point where his internal organs had exploded, was no longer qualified to submit to the wolves. As Su Lin exerted force again, the wolf claws directly crushed the internal organs, including the bones, of the Mobei Sandworm King, completely crushing it to pieces. The power of the silver origin exploded in his body, completely destroying the nerves and consciousness of the Mobei Sandworm King. In this Mobei desert area, the Sandworm King who once ruled the roost and established a large ethnic group was completely killed. At this moment, all the Mobei sandworms looked at Su Lin, who was covered in blood, with fear like a ghost in their eyes. The eyes of the other ultimate meshes and perfect level mecha warriors, as well as the Steppe Wolf King, Higurashi King and many other strongest ones, also have the same look in their eyes. The Arctic Wolf King is too strong. The more contact you have, the more you will understand how powerful the Arctic Wolf King is. If the battle between the speedy Golden Eagle and the Arctic Wolf King is too fantasy and weird, it is beyond the scope of their contact and understanding. But the ultimate king-level Mobei Sandworm King is within their cognitive range. The strength of the Mobei Sandworm King is only a sliver behind the Prairie Wolf King and Han Cicada King. In the battle just now, he was able to defeat 3 high-ranking divine servants. This means that the Mobei Sandworm King can at least contend with 3 ultimate Meshes warrior. Once he really goes all out, both the Prairie Wolf King and the Han Cicada King will have to stay away. But such an extreme king beast couldn't even withstand a blow from the Arctic Wolf King. Just like crushing an insect, it crushed the Mobei Sand Insect King to death. This makes many ultimate mecha warriors and perfect mecha warriors not only feel shocked, but also a little surprised, because they still vaguely remember the video of the Arctic Wolf King and the purple lynx fighting thousands of miles to enter human society just over a year ago. At that time, although the Arctic Wolf King was recognized as a world-destroying level, it was far from as strong as it is now. Now, the Arctic Wolf King has once again killed an extreme king beast that is not inferior to the purple lynx, and it is no longer effortless. It can be seen that the Arctic Wolf King has grown too fast in just over a year. In other words, these species at the pinnacle of mutated organisms have grown too fast. At this time, many ultimate mecha warriors and perfect level mecha warriors, in addition to the god demonic awe in their eyes, also felt once again worried about the fate of mankind in the future. Even though the Science Alliance has many ultimate mecha warriors, thousands of perfect level mecha warriors, 8th generation killing fighters, 7th generation version 2.0 fighters, divine rays and other big killers under its command, even the king level combat power under the Science Alliance can be said to be the first among all ethnic groups in the world. But against the mutant creatures that are truly at their peak, they are still extremely powerless, because the pace at which human science and technology is breaking through barriers is simply not comparable to the growth rate of mutant creatures that are truly at their peak. The speedy golden eagle, the Arctic Wolf King, the bloodthirsty python, the human skin giant tree, etc., are all beyond the range that technological killing weapons can compete with. Even the leader of the ultimate mecha warrior Winson, who has always maintained the belief that human beings must win, and science must win, now has a trace of confusion in his eyes. Today's peak showdown between the speedy Golden Eagle and the Arctic Wolf King had a huge impact on him. The so-called ultimate mecha could compete with the fast Golden Eagle, but it has become a joke today. So Winson has no idea how to deal with these powerful beings, who are like gods and demons in the future. Next, under the threat of the Mobei Sandworm King being directly pressed to death, the rest of the ethnic groups quickly surrendered in fear. Only some heterogeneous sandworms who are the confidants of the Mobei Sandworm King want to break out of the siege of the Arctic wolves. In the end, Fox Wolf and Vincent led their subordinates to kill them all. After doing this, Winson and other mecha warriors, and the remaining killing fighters also said goodbye to Celine and left this unprecedentedly tragic battlefield. With the Theology Alliance retreating and the Science Alliance retreating, only the Arctic wolves were left on the entire battlefield. As for the other ethnic beasts, they have all been subdued. Vincent began to lead the human team to calculate the strength and expertise of these groups, and prepare to report to the Wolf King. And while they are busy, Su Lin also restrained his aura, and came to the source of the divine substance in the Gobi Desert. There are two powerful auras intertwined in the deep pit, where the divine material originates. There was no doubt that the aura was that of a giant flesh insect that had just been captured by the speedy Golden Eagle. This aura was filled with evil and mania, and was also mixed with traces of toxins and thunder and lightning. Another breath is the true source of the divine substance. This breath makes Su Lin feel somewhat close to him, as if he is from the same sect. But this kind of atmosphere has been gone for a long time, and it has a very vicissitudes of life. Divine substances have always been the key to the survival of the strongest species in other eras. Therefore, the source of the divine substance in the Gobi Desert brought out an aura of vicissitudes that did not belong to this era, which was not beyond Celin's expectation. At this time, he came closer and mobilized his powerful senses and original power to invade Xiao Hui and the elite wolf clan, who had solidified the divine substance to investigate. It was found that Xiao Hui and the elite wolf tribe were in stable life conditions and had not suffered any trauma. On the contrary, these divine substances are still nourishing the bodies of Xiao Hui and the more than 200 elite wolves, and are also subtly strengthening and changing their genes. Therefore, under the nourishment of this huge amount of divine material, the more than 200 elite wolves have all increased their strength to near king level. Some of the best among them have broken through to the king level and transformed into new species. As for Xiao Hui, he was originally extremely talented and was the first alien species to successfully transform before the great changes in the world. If it weren't for his naive personality and tiredness of playing around, his strength would probably be higher than that of wolves. However, he first encountered several bloody battles in the Siberian plains, and was nourished by this huge divine substance. So Xiao Hui's strength improved while sleeping, which surprised Celine. With a thought, he brought up Xiao Hui's attribute panel. Species, new gray-feathered wolf. Level 39. Chi and blood, 22,157. Endurance, 1,682. Strength, 1,596. Defense, 1,378. Speed, 1,423. And NB level, latent, a level. Howling wolf, a plus level. Serious wings, S level. Secret technique, descending of the serious god. It can be said that Xiao Hui's strength has greatly improved compared to before. In terms of pure hard attributes, it is no longer inferior to the ultimate king level purple lynx. Even in terms of endurance and defense, it is stronger than the purple lynx's purple gold body. The most important thing is that he has awakened the secret technique, so once Xiao Hui wakes up, his combat power will probably be as good as any extreme king level beast, and he will become one of the most powerful beasts in the wolf pack. This made Su Lin couldn't help but lament Xiao Hui's luck. It was originally a miserable situation, where we didn't know whether we were alive or dead, but we didn't expect to get such a shocking adventure. You must know that with such a vast amount of divine material, even if it were given to Celine, he would get a huge improvement. But Su Lin is not yet ready to compete with Xiao Hui for these opportunities. Since the divine substance was solidified on Xiao Hui and a group of elite wolves, Celine did not break through it rashly and wake them up. Instead, he let out a low howl with mental fluctuations, signaling the fox wolf to transport Xiao Hui and a group of elite wolves back to the southern mountains later. After all, Xiao Hui and the elite wolves have absorbed less than 1/3 of these divine substances. Su Lin wanted to see what would happen once it was completely absorbed. I believe that after the complete absorption, Xiao Hui and this group of elite wolves will become his strongest personal guards, who who can truly be invincible and invincible. After explaining these things, Su Lin looked at the gaseous divine substance still flying in the sky, and a pair of light blue wolf eyes flashed. The total amount of these divine substances was even more than the amount of divine substances solidified on Xiaohui, and the more than 200 elite wolves. It would be a pity to let it spread out of thin air in this world. Therefore, Su Lin mobilized his extremely powerful source power and spiritual soul power to form a huge silver vortex in mid-air. The silver vortex formed by the convergence of the source power and spiritual soul power is several hundred meters in size, no smaller than the speedy golden eagle. After the silver vortex formed, Su Lin mobilized the silver vortex to spin quickly. The spinning silver vortex produced extremely powerful suction. This suction force sucked in the divine substances that were still spilling out between heaven and earth, like a whale swallowing talent. Even, in a sense, the silver vortex formed by Su Lin's spiritual soul power and original power is already comparable to talents below a level. Su Lin, the speedy golden eagle, the bloodthirsty python, and the human skin giant tree are already qualified to evolve some low-level talents and killing skills on their own. At this time, when the silver vortex showed strong suction, divine substances were also rushing in from all directions. There was no need for the Science Alliance's special storage bottle. After entering the silver vortex, the divine substance in the sky was quickly concentrated into a pure liquid. After continuing to concentrate, pieces of unusually strong pieces were formed. It's just that these fragments contain enough life essence and energy essence to make the high-level king beasts and extreme king beasts red-eyed. After Su Lin once again showed his almost miraculous power, all the alien beasts that had just surrendered lost their resistance to the wolves. After all, it is better to follow such an unparalleled king than to be crushed to death by other top forces in the years to come. Survive. In real troubled times, the first thing all ethnic groups must ensure is survival. At this time, with the sincere submission of many ethnic groups, hundreds of thousands of alien beasts were willing to be surrounded and guarded by tens of thousands of members of the Arctic wolf pack. Vincent was also allowed to lead a group of new humans, counting the number and strength of each ethnic group. And just when many ethnic groups surrendered, Nighthawk also led the alien mecha bodyguards to arrive. In fact, their speed is far different from Su Lin's speed. They didn't come here until the end of this unprecedentedly tragic war. However, the arrival of thousands of mecha and beast guards such as Nighthawk also relieved the pressure on Fox Wolf, One-Eyed Wolf and Vincent. At least there is no need to worry about the rebellion of the alien beasts from various groups that have just surrendered to the wolves. After all, these hundreds of thousands of strange beasts only surrendered to the wolves because of the Wolf King's divine power. Once a real riot breaks out, it will be difficult for them alone to suppress it. After the arrival of the Nighthawk chirping, it didn't take long for the leaders of the wolf pack such as Red-Tailed, Warm Bear, King Bison, Arctic Swallow, etc. to arrive one by one. As more and more members of the Arctic wolf pack gather together, high-end combat power also appears, one after another, which makes these strange beasts of the tribe that have just surrendered have no resistance at all. Even the strange beasts who originally had some small thoughts and were ready to rush out and become kings on their own, have given up all their thoughts. After all, facing such a terrifying wolf pack that embraces all rivers, daring to play those little tricks is tantamount to seeking death. After all the members of the wolf pack gathered together, Red-Tail, as the Wolf Queen, looked at the tragic and messy battlefield, and began to scream with mental fluctuations to direct the members of the wolf pack, who had just arrived to clean the battlefield. On this tragic battlefield, millions of species died, including many exotic beasts. Although most species were smelted into pure energy liquid by the bright sun, there are still many broken limbs. Red-Tails also grew up step by step from the Arctic ice fields, where food was scarce. Therefore, even if there were some broken limbs, Red-Tail would not dislike them at all. Collected together, this is another considerable food reserve. Most of the food provided by humans is whole grains, which can only maintain the basic calories of each member of the wolf pack, and are far less good than these meats and exotic flesh. In addition, once there is a real war, the grains provided by humans are far less morale-boosting than meat and alien flesh. At this time, while Red-Tail was leading the wolf pack to clean the battlefield, Su Lin was controlling the silver vortex to collect the divine substance, and it was coming to an end. The divine matter all over the sky condensed into dense solid fragments of more than 3,000 divine matter in the silver vortex. Each of these fragments contains pure energy that is not inferior to that of a high-level king-level mutant creature. These more than 3,000 solid fragments of divine material are enough to support Su Lin's promotion again. Su Lin's gains from coming this time are not small. Not only are these more than 3,000 solid fragments of divine matter, but also the remains of the bright sun. That bright sun condensed more than half of the divine light essence of hundreds of divine servants, and more than 30 divine servants. In addition, during the incineration process, it also added the life essence and energy essence smelted from countless species. Therefore, the energy and life essence contained in the wreckage of Gwangmingori is no less than these more than 3,000 solid fragments of divine matter. Besides, what makes Su Lin most satisfied is that he has conquered hundreds of thousands of strange beasts and more than 20 king beasts. In the future, these will become the backbone of the wolf pack. At this time, while the wolves were cleaning the battlefield, and Vincent and the others were busy counting the number and strength of the surrendered beasts, time was passing quietly. Time flies. A few days later, word of this shocking war spread throughout human society. The divine phoenix burns in the sky, and the silver moon crosses the sky. Every one of them is a bit fantasy and wonder, and it makes all human beings feel swaying. But they still find it incredible that the speedy golden eagle lost in the end, because the reputation of the speedy golden eagle in the outside world is too strong. Destroy a country by himself, kill the world-destroying terrifying crocodile, the strongest bird in the sky, and enter the Science Alliance alone. Headquarters, etc., are all the impressive achievements of the speedy golden eagle. Everyone thinks that this speedy golden eagle will become a life or death enemy that humans cannot defeat or balance, just like the bloodthirsty python. But no matter what, I never thought that I would lose to the Arctic Wolf King in a battle in the Gobi Desert, because the prestige of the Arctic Wolf King in human society is ultimately inferior to that of the speedy golden eagle. But after this battle, he is no longer bad. It even once rose to the level of being comparable to the giant human skin tree and the bloodthirsty python in human society. It is no exaggeration to say that it is powerful in the world. In the ranking of mutant creatures, it has even replaced the speedy golden eagle and become fifth, second only to the bloodthirsty python, the giant human skin tree, the mysterious sea monster and the giant squid. In addition to being shocked by the monstrous fighting power of the Arctic Wolf King, people are also talking about this top battle between the Science Alliance and the Theology Alliance. Because these are two major branches of human beings, they naturally attract more attention in human society. It's just that no matter how much outside public opinion discusses, the Theological Union and the Scientific Union have no response. Since this war, their two top forces have kept a low profile to a terrifying level, and have sealed off their headquarters, because they are all actively expanding their strength in silence. The Theological Alliance has the death worms brought back by the speedy golden eagle. Whether it is taming this death worm, or being eaten as blood food by the fast golden eagle, the strength of the entire Theological Alliance will greatly increase. A truly powerful being at the world-destroying level can more than make up for the loss of hundreds of divine servants. The same is true for the Science Alliance, which also brought back dozens of divine substances in storage bottles. With these divine substances, the Science Alliance has also increased its experiments on concentrated divine rays and genetically modified warriors, hoping to break through the barriers before the end. Therefore, the two major branches of humanity are turning a deaf ear to the opinions of the outside world, and they are both racing against time to expand their strength. This confrontation between the Science Alliance and the Theology Alliance has also made humans and ethnic groups all over the world deeply aware of the terror of the current dominant ethnic group on the earth. The two major human branches, the Science Alliance and the Theological Alliance, can easily have hundreds of king-level combat forces, which is more than any group of king-level mutant creatures. It is hard to imagine that if these two branches had not split, what other ethnic group in the world could compete with today's human family? Even the snakes under the bloodthirsty python must avoid the sharp edge. Therefore, many human beings are once again full of confidence in the future. But what these ordinary humans and new humans don't know is that the hearts of the top leaders of the Science Alliance and the 6 major forces are still heavy, and there is no optimism at all. Because from the battle videos recorded from these ultimate mecha warriors and killing fighters, they all know that the mutated creatures that stand at the pinnacle of the era are growing faster and faster. No matter how much king-level combat power humans possess, they will not have the slightest effect on these mutant creatures that stand at the pinnacle. It was originally said that more than a dozen ultimate meshas could compete with the fast golden eagle, but now no one talks about it anymore, because not to mention more than 10, even 30, 100 probably wouldn't be able to compete with the fast golden eagle that truly enters the extreme state of rage and sets off the wonder of the divine phoenix burning in the sky. The speed of more than 20,000 meters per second has exceeded the range that the precise radar on the ultimate mecha can capture. 1 second, the position was still 40 or 50 miles away, and the next second, it was right in front of us. How could we compete with such an astonishing speed? Therefore, The people in power, who are really at the top, are not optimistic, and just when the upper echelons of human society are worried, all members of the Arctic wolf pack have already returned to the southern mountains. Nowadays, the prairie wolves and the male and female wolves under Su Lin have merged, causing the strength of the male and female wolves to skyrocket. As for the half-steppe world-destroying steppe wolf king, he was also promoted by Su Lin to become the alpha wolf, and even entered the advanced alpha wolf rank. As long as you gain enough military exploits in the future, you will be promoted, because the prairie wolf king's combat power is unique among the wolves. Even if Little Gray wakes up and the little lone wolf returns, he can't compete with the steppe wolf king. The steppe wolf king, who is half destroying the world, deserves this treatment. Except for the steppe wolf king, the Han Cicada king and the more than 200,000 Han Cicada clan under his command were promoted to become the 13th branch of the wolf pack. The Han Cicada king, who was half destroying the world, was also promoted to the status of alpha wolf. As for the Henshin clan, the other 11 king beasts have also been promoted to high-level Yi wolves. It can be said that the high-end king-level combat power of the Han Chan clan is second only to the Asuka clan among the Arctic wolves. The same is true for the sandworm swarm and the giant sheep swarm, both of which have become a new part of the wolf pack. The 14th and 15th chapters of the wolf pack were established respectively. However, due to the death of the sandworm king among the sandworm swarm, Su Lin could only promote a high-level king beast as its leader. This sandworm with high king-level strength is at the late level of level 37. Su Lin gave it the codename Shadow Worm, because this is the only spiritual king beast among the Mobai sandworms. In the past, the sandworm swarm was only under the sandworm king, so it would be perfect for it to control the entire swarm of sandworms. After arranging the newly conquered ethnic groups, Su Lin's original 12 wolf packs have also improved a lot in strength during the hunting and expansion during this period. Among them, the male wolf part and the female wolf part were also expanded a lot. However, due to the battle in the Gobi Desert, all low-level alien beasts and ordinary wolves were killed. Therefore, even if the prairie wolves are included in the number is only over 80,000. But these 80,000 are all genuine alien wolves, and there are none below level 10. Therefore, even if there are only 80,000 in number, the strength of the male wolf and the female wolf cannot be underestimated. In this battle in the Gobi Desert, the one-eyed ferocious wolf and the fox wolf did not make any great achievements due to their weak strength. Therefore, Su Lin only gave them some pure blood food and a solid fragment containing divine substances. I hope that the two of them can continue their efforts and improve their strength faster. After all, only by improving your strength can you better lead the wolf tribe in the bloody battle, especially the one-eyed ferocious wolf. Although it is murderous and ferocious enough, it is too weak. It can barely reach the level of a king, and it will not be able to conquer one side on the truly bloody battlefield in the future. As for the steppe wolf king, who was half destroying the world in one step, Su Lin had already checked its attributes. It was discovered that the prairie wolf king has a strength attribute of level 50, and the attribute values such as defense, strength, speed and endurance are all above 2000. He is currently the strongest being among the wolves except himself. Therefore, in addition to promoting it to the alpha wolf position, Su Lin also gave the steppe wolf king temporary control over one female wolf and one male wolf. With one wolf in charge of two parts, it can be seen that Su Lin attaches great importance to it. As long as the steppe wolf king lives up to this importance in the future, Su Lin won't mind removing the label of temporary control from it. Except for the male wolf and the female wolf, since the fox clan under Red Tail was not weakened by the brutal battle in the Gobi Desert, their number exceeded 200,000. Among them, there are more than 30,000 alien fox tribes, and there are thousands of those above level 15. This almost unifies the number and strength of all fox tribes in the Siberian plain and surrounding areas. Red Tail's subordinates also awakened several new Arctic silver foxes with spiritual power. It's just that these new Arctic silver foxes are far less talented than the previous monsters. Su Lin only promoted them to the status of ordinary Yi wolves, and did not give them code names. Currently, Red Tail has more than 20 Arctic silver foxes with spiritual power under his command. Red Tail's own strength also officially broke through to level 33, transforming into a new species. He became the first spiritual king beast among the old members of the wolf pack. Level 33 Red Tail, with her 5 major spiritual talents, has a combat power that even the current Arctic Yanu dare not underestimate. The charming fox under the Red Tail has reached the peak of level 31, which is unparalleled. The speed of promotion is unprecedented among all members of the wolf pack. The charm talent has been promoted to S+ level. During this period of expansion and hunting, Midas' military exploits were no less than those of Red Tail, and she even captured 5 king beasts again. Now Mihu has 7 king beasts under his command, and 3 more have reached the high king level. So with cooperation, even the ultimate king beast may be able to fight. Looking at the charming fox growing at such a speed, Su Lin seemed to have seen the growth period of the fast golden eagle and the bloodthirsty python. I would like to think that the most evil beings in the world all have growth rates that are only stronger than the evil fox. Now his combat prowess is also at the top of the wolf pack. This allowed Su Lin to promote Mihu to the status of a high-level alpha wolf, almost on the same level as Red Tail. It's just that the leadership of the Fox clan is still in Red Tail's hands. Because of Mihu's character, she is not good at leading a group of people and prefers to be a loner, leading a group of subordinates across the battlefield. The Bear Clan from Part 4 of the Wolf Pack. The warm bear transformed into a new species and reached mid-level 34. The parasitic black-blooded daughter in his body has even exceeded level 41, reaching the ultimate king-level combat power. With the powerful combination of the two, coupled with Wenxiong's talent for stopping attacks, it would not be surprising to truly fight to the point of madness or tear an extreme king beast alive. At least the giant sheep king, who surrendered, has always avoided Wenxiong. As for the rest of the Bear Clan, their transformations are mediocre. The ice bear has reached level 31 and has not yet transformed into a new species. Xiaobai, who had high hopes from Su Lin, finally managed to break through and reach level 28. It is almost impossible to maintain the status of high-level Yilang. After all, during this period, the Bear Clan also expanded to more than 9,000 heads, among which many near-king level alien Bear Clan were newly added. Just out of past feelings, Su Lin did not revoke Xiaobei's position as senior Yilang and Bear Clan's deputy. But if it continues to be unable to get over the sadness of the dead white bear, then you can't blame Su Lin for being ruthless. Because the wolf pack has always been a place that pays attention to practicality and respects the strong, friendship was something that was not qualified to be discussed before the wolves became the overlords of the earth. The fifth branch of the wolf pack, the Bird Clan, has exceeded 2 million in number. Various flying birds and birds are the most abundant in plains and grasslands, so they expand extremely rapidly. As the leader of the Bird Clan, Beiji Yenu can promote ordinary bee wolves on his own due to the group autonomy granted by the Wolf King. Therefore, the Asuka clan is more motivated. During this period, not only did Arctic Yenu advance several levels again, reaching the peak of level 39, but even the other king beasts of the Asuka clan also experienced breakthroughs. There are even more than 10 new bird king beasts added. At present, the number of bird king beasts in the bird family has approached more than 20. Su Lin also promoted more than 1,000 high-ranking Yilangs to the Asuka clan, who had great military exploits. In Part 6, the guard beasts under Nighthawk have also improved a lot during this period by relying on the pure blood food rewarded by Su Lin for guarding the southern mountains. There are basically no people below level 20, and Nighthawk and Flying Leopard have both reached mid-level 33. The Nighthawk metamorphoses into a new species, but the Flying Leopard has not yet, because the Flying Leopard has more genetic shackles than the Nighthawk. But at the same time, once it transforms into a new species, the improvement will be higher. Even though some of the alien mecha guards under Nighthawk were taken away by the God Owl to the place of adventure, they are still powerful in combat. Once they swarm, they can compete with 30 or 40 king beasts. For a small group of less than 100,000 people, the mecha and beast guards under Nighthawk can easily slaughter them all. The 7th Tiger clan has not returned to the Dahu kingdom, but news of success has been sent back. 2 extreme king-level ghost cat demons, one died and the other surrendered. In 2 or 3 days, the invincible tigers, black rats and sables will be escorted back along with the thousands of first-class meshes, and more than 10 perfect-level meshes promised by Da Lao. The number of the bison clan in the 8th part reached more than 200,000, and they are all male bison selected from them that are strong and good at charging. Common bison and female bison are kept in captivity in the Nanjing Mountains and used as food reserves for various wolf groups. As the number of the bison clan expands, the wolves purchase more assault-type meshes from human society. After all, the biggest role of this batch of bison is to charge. In the battle on the battlefield in the Gobi Desert, the giant sheep clan showed its true power. When charging, 1,000 armies can easily be conquered. Just like the ancient heavy cavalry's superiority over infantry, even the divine servants with king-level combat power, and the upper-level divine servants with ultimate king-level combat power, could not stop it. The 9th part is the humans under Xander. The number of human beings has the largest increase. From 300,000 after the end of the Siberian Plain in March, it has increased more than 10 times in a short period of time, reaching more than 3 million. And they are all well-trained professional warriors, who can skillfully use technological killing weapons. Therefore, This sudden increase is a bit surprising, as most of them were added after the Dark Sun. However, under Sander's management, more than 3 million fully armed humans are also in good order. There was no turmoil after the surge in numbers. Therefore, Selin was still very satisfied with Sander, who was the leader of the human race. Sander was once again rewarded with more than 50,000 kilograms of new species flesh and blood, and 3 solid fragments of divine material. At the same time, many rewards were given to Vincent, who surrounded and subdued many ethnic groups in the Gobi Desert battlefield. Vincent was also promoted to the status of high-level alpha wolf, because Vincent was very precise in grasping the timing on the battlefield. Sulin also admired his calm attitude in times of crisis. In the future, he will decide to let Sander and Vincent, a master leads humans to defend the southern mountains. A master, following the bloody conquests of the wolf pack. As for the other humans, who have made a lot of contributions during this period, they have also been promoted to the status of more than 6,000 Yi wolves, and the status of 800 high-level Yi wolves. Sulin's treatment of human beings is not inferior to that of wolves and foxes among wolves. Because of the contribution of human beings to the wolves, it deserves this. In addition to contributions on the battlefield, humans have also made a lot in other aspects. For example, without the transformation of the southern mountains by humans, I am afraid that the wolves would not be able to live in such comfort and peace of mind. Not to mention being so impregnable, there are detection radars and countless ion minefields on the outermost edge of the southern mountains. Without the support of internal members of the wolf pack, even high-level king beasts cannot come within 300 miles of the southern mountains. Alien beasts above the extreme king beasts will also trigger the alarm system in the southern mountains. By then, the Nanjing Mountains ballistic missile system, which Nanjing Mountains has spent a lot of money to build, will be launched. Therefore, it is very difficult to just invade the southern mountains, let alone conquer them. It is precisely because of this that Sulin becomes more determined to make the southern mountains the true base camp of the wolves. There are many species and countless resources here. There are thousands of various mutant plants. During this period, in addition to the king-level cedar, 2 new king-level mutant plants were also born. They are King Clematis and King Iris. Most of the original Siberian Iris sea was destroyed when the purple lynx condensed the secret bones. Now, after more than a year, not only has it recovered, but a king-level iris has also been born. From this, we can see the pure energy rich in the southern mountains. Simply surviving in the southern mountains for a long time will grow faster than species in the outside world. So this is a truly blessed land. As for the original tide of alien beasts and rats in the southern mountains, they have steadily improved during this period of recuperation. The scarred bears, condors, and ferocious cats under B's command all transformed into new species. In fact, they have long had the potential to be promoted to new species, but when the southern mountains were not controlled before, the fighting with each other was too serious. Most of the pure energy is monopolized by more than a dozen king beasts. Until now, after the southern mountains were unified, they received a lot of pure blood food rewarded by the Wolf King. So in the past 2 or 3 months, new species have been discovered one after another. In addition to the black rats, there were also 2 king beasts breaking through in the rat tide. As for the snake group, there are also 2 venomous snakes that have been promoted to new species. However, during the period when they left the southern mountains, the snakes also suffered heavy casualties. At least more than 200,000 snakes died tragically. However, when hundreds of thousands of snakes return to garrison in the southern mountains with complex terrain, they can exert much greater power than going out to hunt. There are currently 15 wolves in the pack, 1 million exotic beasts, and more than 20 million species. 15 wolf packs are stationed in the southern mountains, which has made this mountain range stretching for thousands of miles, after the transformation become the most important town in the northern cold zone. It is truly impregnable. It can be said that if you want to truly conquer the current southern mountains, even if the Science Alliance and the Theology Alliance join forces, and all the hidden cards are revealed, there will only be a slight chance. And when all 15 wolves return to the southern mountains to rest, in the place of adventure, in the cold Arctic ice field, the little lone wolf with dark purple hair had joined Khan a few days ago, and fought back to the place of adventure together. With the addition of more than 700 elite humans from Khan, the defensive strength of the land of adventure has also been greatly enhanced. Therefore, the siege of the ice crystal monsters can be better resisted by relying on fortifications. Coupled with the 5 new species of flesh and blood brought by Khan, this greatly alleviated the problem of insufficient pure blood food for the elves in the adventure. With the flesh and blood of these new species, containing a large amount of pure energy, all the alien beasts that were tired of fighting have recovered and improved a lot. The rock thunderbird has reached level 35, and its talent of destroying thunder and fire has been strengthened to S level. It can spit out enough to destroy an area of more than 10 miles in radius. Mortal Wolf and Connor have also reached mid-level 33 and transformed into new species. As for the Black Wolf, Six-Toed Wolf, Purple-Backed Wolf and other wolf clans, they have all been promoted to the near king level, and are only one step away from transforming into new species. The strength of the remaining members of the wolf pack has improved dramatically. However, in this bloody battle for several consecutive days, various members of the wolf pack once again lost many members. Nowadays, there are no ordinary members of the wolf pack stationed in the land of adventure. They are all exotic beasts, and they are all above level 15. This group of members has experienced hundreds of battles, and they can be regarded as the most elite and powerful group of members even among the large wolf pack troops. So every death in battle is a loss. But fortunately, since yesterday, these ice crystal monsters have once again besieged the place of adventure. At the same time, Khan and Rock Thunderbird once again sent out a group of drones and exotic birds to deliver news. This time, relying on the strong force of the Rock Thunderbird to open the way. Although there were a lot of damage in the battle, several micro-drones rushed out. When the message is passed on, it means there is hope. Therefore, the morale of all the wolf pack units has been relatively stable these days. In addition to the morale problem of the wolf pack, the little lone wolf, as the highest commander of the wolf pack branch, has sacrificed the most and improved most rapidly during these days of bloody fighting. It has reached level 39, and both the Mad Wolf talent and the Light of Life have broken through to S+ level, but it has not metamorphosed into a new species, which is extremely rare because the wolves are different from the heaven-defying king squid, blue whale, giant elephant, etc. These species are genetically powerful and have many shackles. Whether you want to transform into a different species or a new species, it is more difficult than other species. As a little lone wolf of the wolf tribe, he has reached level 39 and has not yet transformed into a new species, which only shows that his accumulation is too deep. It also shows that when the little lone wolf truly transforms into a new species, he may reach the sky in one step, reaching the ultimate king level combat power. Nowadays, the little lone wolf at level 39, even without the original power, still has the combat power of a high-level king beast, and can easily suppress various alien species such as rock thunderbirds, mortal wolves, and residual ears. The dark purple-haired wolf body is more than 30 meters long, but the little lone wolf looked at the dense group of ice crystal monsters around him. His expression still did not relax for a moment. Because of my deep intuition, I always feel that there is a power hidden behind these ice crystal monsters that can really change the color of the world. So the only thing the little lone wolf can hope for is that the Wolf King can receive the message from the land of adventure. At the same time, I also hope that the Wolf King can send more wolf pack members to help. At this time, in the mood of the little lone wolf, what it didn't know was that the Black Pigeon, Divine Owl, Tiffany and Evil Tiger, who came to help, were not far from the place of adventure, and all the ice crystal monster groups encountered along the way, except for trying desperately to block and hunt them at the beginning. The closer they get to the place of adventure, the more these ice crystal monsters make way for them. It was as if a huge beast from ancient times opened its big mouth, waiting for them to enter the place of adventure, and then swallowed them all in one bite. This makes Black Pigeon, Divine Owl, Tiffany and Evil Tiger feel more and more uneasy as they get closer to the place of adventure. At this time, amidst the undercurrents surging deep in the Arctic ice sheet, time is also passing quietly. A few days later, there are only 2 days left before the 100-day countdown released by the Theological Union. A tense and solemn atmosphere can be found in almost every corner of the world, and all ethnic groups seem to be waiting for something. Many ethnic groups that had been engaged in bloody conquests also stopped their conquests and returned to their own territories to stabilize their rule and defense. Even Su Lin recalled the members of the wolf pack, who were still hunting and expanding outside. All the members of the 15th wolf pack have gathered in the southern mountains, and are staying in the fortresses and fortifications where they live. In recent days, Selin has once again rewarded 15 wolf packs on a large scale. The members who were rewarded with pure flesh and blood were eating and digesting silently, making their final efforts for the upcoming Dark Era. As for the Langkunshengu territory, except for the 1st patrol unit led by Yuhu and the 2nd patrol unit led by Wolf Dad, Selin once again dispatched the king beast of the Flying Bird clan, Shadow Moon Fian, leading 50,000 Flying Bird elites, and the newly promoted human, being Benji Mel, leading 100,000 fully armed humans to garrison. With 2 of them stationed in the Wolf Mountains territory can better ensure the safety of Shengnu territory. In addition, in order to ensure that messages between the 3 wolf territories can be transmitted quickly in the coming Dark Era, Sander also led the human group to find and reconstruct more than a dozen contact points in steep areas between the southern mountains and the mountain territory. Each contact point has more than 800 special forces, about 300 exotic birds, and more than 100 fox tribesmen. Although these garrison forces are not large, they are enough to convey information, and relying on the steep terrain after the transformation, it can also withstand the invasion of many small groups. As for the contact point between the Shengyu territory and the land of adventure, Sander also sent tens of thousands of new humans to build and transform it. It's just that the land of adventure is too far away from the southern mountains, so it's unlikely that the construction will be completed before the Dark Age. These are the last efforts of the Wolf Pack to prepare for the Dark Age. In addition to the actions of the Wolf Pack ministries under Su Lin, the External Theological Alliance also lifted its headquarters and reappeared in the public eye. Among them, Manser, who is in the True God sequence, began to threaten the outside world that he would seek revenge from the Arctic Wolf King and the Science Alliance for the blood feud in the Gobi Desert. It was even rumored that after the injured Speedy Golden Eagle returned to the Theological Alliance with his monster-like qualifications, he not only recovered from his injury within a few days, but also bucked the trend and achieved another breakthrough. At the time of the breakthrough, half of the sky in Jerusalem was dyed red with blood-red fluorescence. This revived public opinion around the world. Many people believe that the Speedy Golden Eagle fought in the Gobi Desert just because most of its combat power was suppressing the death worm, otherwise it would not have lost to the Arctic Wolf King. Now that it has broken through, its monstrous combat power will be far greater than before. Meeting the Arctic Wolf King again, I am afraid there will be an earth-shattering life and death showdown between the two. But Su Lin, as a party involved, did not take the threat of the Theological Alliance seriously, because with the advent of the Dark Age, all races have been fighting to the death, fighting for blood until they go crazy. Verbal threats are the most meaningless. Except for the threat of the Theological Union, what Su Lin is really worried about is the place of adventure, because he sent several groups of members one after another, but there is still no news of their return. It stands to reason that if the supernatural forces of the mysterious iceberg were moving on a large scale, the wolf branch of the Little Lone Wolf under the command of the Little Lone Wolf would not be able to resist it at all, and they should have attacked the Shengyu territory long ago. But now the Shengyu territory and the surrounding area for hundreds of miles are peaceful. So after dispatching so many forces one after another, after Su Lin thought for a moment, he sent two more forces. One group is the red-headed man under the command of Arctic Yanu, leading hundreds of monster-level alien birds to explore the mysterious iceberg. The power of exploring the mysterious iceberg lies not in quantity but in essence. The purpose is to determine whether the several extraordinary powers in the mysterious iceberg have been born, because once the supernatural power of the mysterious iceberg emerges, not only the entire Arctic ice sheet will be affected, but also the major forces in the world may have to be re-divided. In addition to sending the red-headed man to explore the mysterious iceberg, Su Lin also dispatched tens of thousands of additional new humans, and also dispatched 3 ultimate meshes and 3 killing fighters, because a human being who controls a technological killing weapon is not only extremely fast among the wolves in terms of maneuverability, but also second to none in terms of lethality. Especially the firepower of the ultimate mecha and the killing fighter is enough to destroy a large ethnic group. What's more, the ultimate mecha and killing fighter are equipped with several heavyweight nuclear weapons. If they really give it a try, it will be like self-destruction under the burning of the bright sun, which can produce the power of destroying the world. With the several forces sent by Su Lin, plus the wolf branch under the command of Little Lone Wolf, it can be said that it is already an extremely powerful force. As long as it is not a mysterious iceberg with several extraordinary powers, and you really step out of the mysterious iceberg, you can deal with all problems. Therefore, after dispatching these 2 forces, Su Lin took his mind back from the place of adventure. Do your best and obey destiny. Many times, this is the only way to go in troubled times. After all, even if the mysterious iceberg is really born, Su Lin will not be able to lead a large army of wolves back to the place of adventure. On the one hand, the Dark Age is approaching, and the wolf pack is truly migrating from the impregnable southern mountains, and the risks are unpredictable. On the other hand, there are the Speedy Golden Eagle and the Theological Alliance, who are still watching. The speed of the Speedy Golden Eagle is not inferior to that of Su Lin, and it comes and goes without a trace. Therefore, for the sake of the future of the wolves, they can only guard the southern mountains for now. If the mysterious iceberg is really born, something will happen to Little Lone Wolf and the land of adventure. So in the upcoming Dark Age of hegemony, Su Lin vowed to crush all the extraordinary forces in the mysterious iceberg to pay homage to the members of the wolf pack branch. Thinking like this at this time, it didn't take long for Selin to withdraw his thoughts from the place of adventure and focus on improving his strength. Because strength is the source of all confidence, he gained a lot from his last trip to the Gobi Desert, the remains of the bright sun, and thousands of solid divine substances. In the past few days, Selin extracted about 10,000 kilograms of her essence. These essences contain the most life and energy of the divine light of the servants of God and other burned species. The pure energy contained in this 1 million kilograms of bright sun essence and thousands of solid divine substances is extremely vast, which is comparable to the combined energy contained in several top world-destroying level mutated creatures. So Selin wanted to see how much his strength could be improved after devouring all the essence of the bright sun and divine substances. Thinking like this, Su Lin's light blue wolf eyes flashed with a glint of light and a desire for promotion. Then without much hesitation, he took an evolution potion, waited for the coldness to spread throughout his body, and then started eating. Please take a day off and make up for it tomorrow. My kids, go to bed early. The first thing Su Lin ate was the essence of the bright sun. Even though the bright sun has been extinguished for a long time, the essence can still be felt hot after being swallowed. However, this boiling temperature is different from the boiling temperature of the limit-breaking serum. There is no pain that burns the bone marrow cells and soul. It is as comfortable as a big mouthful of hot soup in the stomach. The essence of Ri does not have the freshness of grass and trees like the grass and wood spirits. Instead, it has a mellow fragrance like nectar. It was like the feeling Su Lin had when he took his first sip of fresh deer blood, not long after he was reborn. Such a mellow and delicious Ri essence will make all species addicted after one sip. Under the temptation of the extremely mellow taste, Su Lin ate very quickly. While eating, light gray messages about evolution values popped up in front of me. Ding! Congratulations to the host for eating the original power of the 8-winged divine bird and obtaining 810 evolutionary essences. Ding! Congratulations to the host for eating the essence of the origin of all living beings and obtaining 600 evolutionary essences. Su Lin wolfed down thousands of kilograms of the essence of the bright sun. After being devoured, it provided much more than a light gray message. A series of light gray message reminders flashed before his eyes. Ding! Congratulations to the host for eating the original power of the 8-winged divine bird and obtaining 809 evolutionary essences. Ding! Congratulations to the host for eating the essence of the origin of all living beings and obtaining 599 evolutionary essences. Looking at the light gray message prompts that kept flashing in front of him, Su Lin's light blue wolf eyes also flashed with a soul-stirring light. 8-winged divine bird, the origin of all living beings. Obviously this should be the main source of energy that condenses the bright sun. The 8-winged divine bird and the light gray message prompt is probably the most powerful being that has created countless servants of God in the Theological Alliance. As for the origin of all living beings, I think it is the origin of the lives, souls, etc., of many species gathered under the burning of the bright sun. However, the pure energy contained in both is extremely amazing. Just eating several thousand kilograms directly provided more than 100,000 evolutionary essences, which was only much more than the pure energy contained in the grass elves. Under the temptation of the huge evolution value, Selin continued to eat the essence of the bright sun. While eating, he is also silently controlling the vast pure energy converted by the power of devouring to continue to impact the genetic barriers in the body. Following the last bloody battle with the speedy golden eagle, Selin also witnessed the world's evil species that stood at the top of the times. It is true that they all have unparalleled fighting power and are extremely monsters. Therefore, only stronger strength can truly shock the world. Su Lin also desires more and more strength. As the pure energy was being mobilized for impact, dull sounds continued to resound within Selin Wolf's body. Boom! Like a rumble of thunder, the vibrations inside the wolf's body also made Selin's internal organs tremble with pain. But these pains were not even 1/10 of the limit-breaking serum, so Su Lin didn't even have the slightest fluctuation in his expression. While eating and silently attacking genetic barriers, time also passes quietly. About 2 full hours later, after Selin consumed more than 200,000 kilograms of bright sun essence, his accumulated evolution points reached the limit for promotion. The huge and mysterious power of evolution has also arrived again. As Selin became stronger and stronger, his understanding of this mysterious evolutionary force became clearer and clearer. The level of this mysterious evolutionary power is outrageous. As soon as it appeared, the mysterious power within a radius of 10 miles was annihilated as if it had encountered a nemesis and natural enemy. Even while being absorbed by the body, limbs and bones of Selin Wolf, it is still eliminating the impurities and mysterious power residues that have been swallowed up in the genetic flesh and blood of other species. It's as if this mysterious force that allows all species to evolve rapidly is not worthy of coexisting with it. However, this evolutionary force is indeed mysterious. Each evolution not only subtly improves the strength of Selin's wolf body, but also integrates the powerful genes of other eating species. This made Selin's hidden combat power even more evil and terrifying. At this time, after the mysterious power of evolution roamed the wolf's body, limbs and bones, Selin stopped mobilizing the pure energy in his body to attack the genetic barrier. Begin to absorb this evolutionary power with all your concentration. During the absorption, Selin's already shining silver hair became softer and more shiny, like a god entrenched in the cave. This made the other commanders in the cave look at the Wolf King with even more awe in their eyes. In particular, the most powerful beings such as the Prairie Wolf King, the Chilling King, the Giant Sheep King, the Shadow Insect, the Arctic Swallow, and the black-blooded Cuscuta are even more sensitive to the changes in the Wolf King's aura. They can all feel the Wolf King's aura, which is slowly getting stronger. This makes them have a deeper respect for the Wolf King than other strange beasts. Because they know more than ordinary beasts, the more clearly they can understand the existence of the Wolf King level, how difficult it is every time you improve, and how much your strength will improve every time you improve. On the other side, the Black Demon Marten, who had long since recovered his consciousness, but was blocked by spiritual chains, felt the increasing aura of the Arctic Wolf King, and there was also something in his dark eyes, a touch of shock and fear that cannot be resolved. However, this shock and fear soon turned into a despairing feeling, because in the past few days, it has been closer and closer to the Arctic Wolf King, and it has become more and more aware of the terror of the Arctic Wolf King. But now, the Arctic Wolf King with such terrifying strength has made a breakthrough again. This makes it, which originally still had ambition and arrogance and wanted to compete in the world, how can it not feel despair? Can't compete. There is no way to compete. Originally, the Black Demon Marten thought that there was a fast golden eagle and a bloodthirsty python in the world. These two existences that suppressed the world had greatly damaged its confidence in competing for supremacy in the world. But now the Arctic Wolf King beside him also made him feel deeply powerless. Such a species with one monster after another has made it no longer have the confidence to compete in the world. What's more, even the spiritual and soul power that I am proud of is nothing compared to the Arctic Wolf King, because facing the Silver Wolf King in front of it, it could feel its own spirit and soul power fearing and trembling. It was just that there was only a trace of the dignity of the central region's hegemon in its heart, which made it not want to surrender to the wolves like a defeated prisoner. But what the Black Demon Marten didn't know was that there was not much time left for it to surrender. If it hadn't been seriously injured and dying a few days ago, and its mental and soul power had reached the point of collapse, it might have been adopted as the sixth puppet by Su Lin's talent. Next, hours passed by in the blink of an eye. In the odd looks of many high-end combat forces in the Wolf Cave, Selin's absorption of the mysterious power of evolution has come to an end. Now, in addition to having a faint holy silver light all over his body, he also has a suppressed aura that makes all the king beasts in the cave breathless. Boom. After completely absorbing the mysterious evolutionary power, an invisible wave of air spread from where Su Lin was entrenched. As Su Lin opened his eyes, the light blue wolf eyes opened and closed, bursting out several meters of silver fluorescence. All the members who were still looking in his direction lowered their heads in awe again, not daring to look directly at the Wolf King. After Su Lin glanced around at the members of the Wolf Cave, the soul-stirring silver fluorescence in his eyes gradually dissipated, and his aura became restrained again. Within a few seconds, the attribute panel after his breakthrough appeared in front of him. Name, Su Lin. Species, New Howling Moon Silver Wolf. Gene level, E, in Metamorphosis. Level 34. Upgrading requires 4 million evolutionary essences. Chi in blood, 60,560. Stamina, 3,840. Strength, 3,900. Defense, 3,760. Speed, 6,250. Extra attribute points, 240. Evolution essence, 327. Talents, concealment, B level, judgment, S level, hunting, S level, healing, S level, curse, S plus, serious roaring moon, SS level, bright protection, SS level, soul connection, SS level, secret technique, Jing Xiao Gong, elegy of the soul. With Su Lin's promotion this time, his strength has increased a lot again. His blood value has exceeded the 60,000 mark. The chi and blood value of 60,000 represents the extremely powerful chi and blood value. With such a vitality value, even a giant beast with a size of 200 to 300 meters is no more than this. Chi and blood values represent injury resistance, poison resistance, survivability, etc. With a health value of more than 60,000 and an incredible talent for healing, it is not an exaggeration to say that he is immortal. The extra attribute value gained from this upgrade, Sulin added to speed as always, because the more you get into a real peak duel, the more you realize the importance of speed. After the extra attribute value was added to the speed column, Sulin's speed at full speed exceeded 2,890 meters per second. Once the original power and hunting talent are used, this speed will increase more than 10 times. It can be said that after Sulin showed his peak speed, he could reach within 100 miles in an instant. It's just that the faster the speed, the more intense the consumption of physical strength. Sulin's true peak speed can only be maintained for about 20 to 30 minutes at most with his physical strength. This is also the reason why peak speed is not used at all on weekdays. In addition, as the speed increases, the existence of spatial rules can be more clearly felt. However, through a vague barrier, one can only feel the existence of the rules of this space, but cannot really use or contact it. Only when the Jinghong secret technique is used, the rules of space surge out as if the barrier has been torn apart. In addition, as the speed becomes faster and faster, the spatial rules and power contained in the Jinghong gap are also subtly improving. After breaking through at this time, Sulin's body size also soared to more than 80 meters. The wolf body of more than 80 meters contains terrifying power that can shake the heavens and the earth. Claws, fangs, hair, bones, meridians, cells, etc. have all been greatly improved in this breakthrough. Sulin only used about 200,000 kilograms of bright sun essence for this breakthrough, and still had most of the bright sun essence and thousands of fragments of solid divine matter left. These can at least support him to continue his career again. After advancing a few levels, it can be used as his exclusive food reserve after the dark era comes. With these pure energy foods, as well as the previously stored food and blood food, even if the wolf pack already has 20 million people, there is no need to worry about food problems in the next year. Build walls high and store grain widely. Today's wolves can be said to have achieved almost everything to the extreme. Sulin also wanted to see what the theological union said about the so-called dark era, in which the sun and the moon lose light, and the gods and demons destroy the world. What kind of horror is there? If he has made so many preparations, and still cannot survive a mere dark era, then it will only prove that Sulin and his wolves are not qualified to occupy a place in the struggle for hegemony among all races. The weak never have a choice. The weak do not deserve to live. So if he and his 20 million strong wolf pack are weak, then even if they are all killed in the Dark Age, he will not complain at all. Do your best and obey destiny? At this time, Sulin's figure flashed and he reached the top of the highest mountain in the southern mountains. He felt that the mysterious power between the world was getting thinner and thinner, and was about to disappear completely. A pair of light blue wolf eyes were full of fighting and killing intent like a raging fire. Sulin wanted to see what kind of blood-stained world the Dark Era was about to begin. After Sulin withdrew his gaze, he looked at the southern mountains again. Standing on the highest peak, you can have a panoramic view of the southern mountains, stretching for thousands of miles. It must be said that the transformation of the southern mountains, led by Sander, was perfect. There are tens of thousands of permanent firepower points, as well as hundreds of large fortifications and defensive fortresses. These fortifications and defensive fortresses can be used by members of the wolf pack to live and rest when there is no war. In wartime, they will become killing machines that harvest lives one by one. As for rats and snakes, they are accustomed to living in shady areas, and most of them are hidden under decaying leaves. On weekdays, it is silent and invisible, but once it encounters an intruder, it can also rely on the complex terrain of the southern mountains to exert great power and effect, especially with the number of rat tides, facing alien beasts that do not have the talent for mass destruction. Even if they are dragged alive, they can be dragged until their physical strength and original power are exhausted. No matter what time, physical strength and original power are extremely important. If the physical strength and original power are exhausted, no matter how powerful the fighting power is, it will be of no use. Except for the rats and snakes hiding in the shade, at a glance, the other members of the wolf pack were stationed in their respective areas in an orderly manner, and they were also looking after the prey kept in their respective areas. As for the mutated plants that contained abundant pure energy, Sulin specially sent the golden crystal fox and the fox clan to inspect and protect them. In particular, special care was given to the 3 king level mutant plants, because these mutant plants are the best source of pure energy for all members of the wolf pack. Moreover, mutated plants also contain a large amount of mysterious power, which can continuously evolve and divide on their own. Once the Dark Age comes, the rarity of mutant plants that can evolve on their own and split the mysterious power will probably be far beyond imagination. Therefore, it is not an exaggeration to send Arctic silver foxes to patrol and protect these mutated plants. At this time, Su Lin was standing on the top of the mountain, looking away for a moment and then looking away. After retracting his gaze, Su Lin returned to the cave, and his mental fluctuations signaled Redtail to inspect the 15th wolf pack, again as the Wolf Queen. Let Redtail pay close attention to the 3 newly added tribes, the Chilling tribe, the Giant Sheep tribe, and the Sandworm tribe. Because these 3 films are new additions, it is impossible to be completely convinced by the wolves in just a few days. In addition, the members of these 3 groups have not made any achievements, and have not been rewarded with large-scale pure flesh and blood. So Celine doesn't want to see turmoil in these 3 movies after entering the Dark Age. Use heavy scriptures in troubled times. Let Redtail take the Arctic Silver Fox clan to inspect. With their spiritual power, they can better feel the inner thoughts of these clans. Anything that is not conducive to the stability of the wolf pack's mind will be killed in the haze. If killing some could maintain the stability within the wolf pack, Celine wouldn't care about raising the bloody butcher knife. After the explanation, he returned to his position again and began to operate the powerful source power, absorbing the pure energy remaining in the wolf's body. While absorbing, the entire wolf cave also returned to silence again, with only the slight sounds of movement and breathing of some of the wolf leaders. In this silence, time also passed slowly. There are still 30 or 40 hours before the doomsday era mentioned by the Theological Union. The remaining time is very long for the ethnic groups that the world is waiting for today. In human society, the network is almost paralyzed, and there is no one to maintain it. The internet is still working in some areas, but there are also all kinds of comments flying around. There are those who make crazy remarks, and there are also those who are compassionate, and most of them discuss what the doomsday era will be like. How will everyone survive safely in the doomsday era? Not to mention these ordinary humans and new humans. Even the top leaders of the 6 major forces and the Science Alliance do not know what the so-called doomsday era will look like. At this time, almost all humans from all major forces had entered underground fortresses and air defense facilities that had been built in advance. Only some human beings who looked down on life and death, lying flat on their backs, were still on the rooftops of various buildings, overlooking the already deserted city in a dream. They want to use the last moments of their lives to see what the doomsday era, that has been circulating in human society for 3 months, will look like. It was just beyond everyone's expectation that even though it was not long before the so-called doomsday era, the world was still peaceful. No wind, no clouds and no rain. The sky is clear and the warm sunshine shines on the earth. Apart from the fact that the originally bustling city was unmaintained and somewhat deserted, there was no doomsday scene at all. But only the most powerful beings at the pinnacle of the times can feel that the mysterious power between heaven and earth has become so thin that it is almost invisible. And there was an unimaginable sense of oppression, spreading from top to bottom. This sense of oppression is so strong that it is even more tyrannical than the vast will of the earth back then, making even the most powerful beings who stand at the top feel suffocated. Even the Theological Alliance, which had made harsh words some time ago, became silent again under this strong sense of oppression, summoning back all the servants of God and surrendered beasts who had gone out. The entire Jerusalem and the headquarters of the Theological Union were covered with divine light, and were protected like iron barrels. Besides, there are bloodthirsty pythons in India, giant human skin trees in tropical rainforests, giant undead insects in Antarctica, cold-blooded megalodons in the deep sea, giant squids, mysterious sea monsters, etc., and there are many other unspeakable horrors. At this time, he was quietly adjusting his state, trying to adjust his state to its peak. The eyes of all the most powerful beings standing at the pinnacle have the murderous and fighting intent in their eyes, because they can feel with their deep intuition that a bloody storm that is about to affect all species is about to take place. Kill. It's just that all the most powerful species have invincible faith and will in their hearts. Each one of them firmly believes that even if they kill thousands of corpses and a sea of blood, the ones who survive in the end, stepping on thousands of corpses, will still be the ones who reach the top. At this time, the whole world is in an atmosphere of silence and depression, and 30 or 40 hours are passing by little as all species wait. Soon the 100-day countdown mentioned by the Theological Union came, but there was still no change at all between heaven and earth. This did not cause much uproar among the major races with the strongest existence. However, it has caused great repercussions in human society, with a strong sense of time. Everyone feels that there is something wrong with what the Theological Union said. The 6 major forces in human society also called the Science Alliance to inquire, but the news I received was that the mysterious power between heaven and earth had become thin to a certain extent some time ago and could no longer be detected. So far, it has been undetectable for more than a month. This makes the 6 major forces also wonder what to do next. If there really is no so-called doomsday era, then they have suffered too much loss, as they continue to maintain peak combat readiness. Because whether it is the food consumed by the major forces, pure blood food, resources to run the underground Great Wall, and the strongest fortress, etc., they are all almost massive. If there is no so-called doomsday era, it is better to use these resources to conquer mutant creatures. But in the end, the senior management of the Science Alliance has the final say, and it still depends on the trends of the Theological Alliance. After all, the 100-day period was originally issued by the Theological Union. If it is really just a scam, then let's see what exactly the Theological Union is doing with this shocking scam. Since 100 days have passed, the so-called doomsday era has not yet arrived. The originally tense and exciting world atmosphere became inexplicably much more relaxed. Then the day passed quietly and nothing happened. Except for the major and powerful ethnic groups, there has been no action. The small ethnic group that originally only received some rumors from human society began their activities quietly. Every alien beast has wisdom that is not inferior to humans, and the wisdom of transforming into a new species is far superior to humans in many aspects. It is normal for them to get news from the human society level. It's just that there are no signs of the doomsday rhetoric that started with the promotion of human society, which makes many wild and untamable small groups unable to bear it, because they were originally the ones struggling to survive in this troubled world. Continuous hunting and killing are required every day to obtain enough prey to survive. Small ethnic groups in the lower class are always the most difficult existences. However, after these small groups went out, another day passed, and it was still peaceful, and there was no change in the world. There are also more and more ethnic groups starting activities outside. There are also more and more comments online questioning whether the Theological Union's so-called doomsday era is true. However, although there are many doubts, there is still no human power that dares to bet that there is no possibility of the doomsday era. Amid this questioning, time is still passing. Finally, on the 5th day, some small private forces who were unprepared, had no resources, and could no longer bear the pain of the ban began to step out of the safety protection area. On the 7th day, more small forces stepped out. Since there is no official control, these small forces are racing to enclose their land in the abandoned land. Many major institutional facilities have been occupied one after another, and many small and ambitious forces have even occupied major scientific research institutions and military facilities on the ground, and have begun to cooperate with some scientific researchers within the forces to create extremely lethal weapons. The technological killer. Because I still had a glimmer of hope, I couldn't bear to destroy everything that I had painstakingly built. Therefore, these scientific research institutions and military facilities have not been completely abolished, but now they have completely benefited the small private forces. On the 10th day, the civil forces could hardly bear it anymore, especially when they saw the first batch of civil forces going out, all vying for territory and becoming fat in one bite. They were extremely jealous. Civil forces have come out in droves, and have long since forgotten about the Theological Union's so-called doomsday era remarks. Even many small forces, that were originally affiliated with the Theological Alliance, after receiving no official reply from the Theological Alliance, came out one after another and began to compete for everything on the earth. This makes all human beings think that the so-called doomsday era is a fictitious scam. Only the 6 major official forces and the Science Alliance is still using its last bit of reason to suppress the boiling opinions within, and is watching the trends of the Theology Alliance. As long as the Theological Union doesn't move, then they won't move. As for the almost rebellious carnival and horse racing of the civil forces, they turned a blind eye, and all the monster groups with the most powerful existences also showed no movement at all. The hunting and shopping activities of small groups in the outside world are completely non-existent to them, because only they can feel that the mysterious power between heaven and earth has disappeared completely, and disappeared for 10 days. In this atmosphere, another 3 days passed, when the 6 major forces in the Science Alliance were almost unable to suppress internal dissent, and each monster group began to rely on bloody killings to maintain the restless wildness of their members. A shocking change occurred that no one could have imagined. On this day, when all species are caught off guard, 9 world-destroying divine thunders, that were as long as a 1,000-mile-long dragon descended from the sky. The vast black fluorescence formed by the will of the earth was penetrated, and the whole earth was shaking in an instant. It's like the sky is falling and the earth is cracking. Then countless meteorites with aura of destruction fell. The vast black fluorescence, which represents the will of the earth, is like breaking through paper, leaving shocking holes. The indescribable vast whispers between heaven and earth also seem to be wailing in pain. The beautiful rivers and mountains, the colorful city scenery, the lush green mountains and forests, all of this has disappeared into thin air. In the vast world, all beautiful things will be destroyed. There were ferocious cracks on the ground, and endless colorful lights were surging. The urban society of the past, with its high-rise buildings, and various scenic spots and historic sites, is also facing the collapse of every inch. This is an indescribable natural disaster, as if it is specially designed to destroy all living things on the earth. Everything seems to be coming to an end, and all living beings will be destroyed. A dull sense of suffocation fills the space between heaven and earth, as if there is a pair of indifferent hands of destruction, crushing the will of the earth and crushing all living things that are being nurtured on this earth. The civil forces who are still racing to claim the land, and secretly cursing all the official forces, as cowards and stupid pigs, were now crying and running away in fear. But there is no place on this land that can escape this unprecedented catastrophe. Even some weak underground facilities cannot withstand the meteorite rain falling from the sky. In an instant, countless lives were destroyed, and countless ethnic groups perished. Anyway, looking around, all living things are dying in patches, and the whole world seems to be crying for it end. The doomsday catastrophe predicted by the Theological Union suddenly came at this moment with the arrogance of destroying everything. Unstoppable, there is no way to avoid it. The entire earth seemed to be shattered by this unprecedented meteorite rain. There is wailing everywhere and lives are passing away everywhere. At this time, Su Lin was standing on the top of Mount Srail, looking at the huge meteorite rain, with a touch of shock in his light blue wolf eyes, because even he never thought that the beginning of this dark era would be like this. This is the real doomsday catastrophe. In several epochs, the reason for the explosive evolution of life species, and the eventual destruction of life species seems to have been found. Every meteorite carries a strong aura of destruction. Boom. First, a meteorite with a radius of tens of meters hit the edge of the southern mountains, creating a deep crater of more than 1,000 meters on the edge. Along with this deep pit, the shock wave that spread out carried an indescribable destructive force, not only killing all nearby creatures, but also completely destroying the remaining pure energy between heaven and earth. Endless world. If the mysterious power between heaven and earth fades away, it cuts off the source of rapid evolution of all species. Then when all the pure energy is completely destroyed, it will truly cut off the possibility of evolution of all species. Watching many meteorites falling from the sky, falling towards the southern mountains, Su Lin could almost imagine that once it fell behind the southern mountains, this mountain range that might be called a blessed place would be destroyed. This place has been regarded as the headquarters of the wolf pack by Su Lin, and there are 15 wolf pack members here. Even though most of them are now hiding in war fortresses, fortifications and underground facilities, the portion of the southern mountain range that was originally transformed above ground will probably be destroyed by the meteorite rain. The mutated plants that have taken root in the southern mountains will also be exterminated and cease to exist. These mutant plants can provide considerable evolutionary value to Solin, especially once the mysterious power truly dissipates. The role these mutant plants can play is beyond imagination. So looking at the meteorites falling towards the southern mountains one after another, Su Lin didn't hesitate at all. A pair of wolf eyes were full of overwhelming fighting spirit, and the light blue in the eyes instantly turned into dark blue. The SS level Sirius Xiaoyu activates instantly. At the same time, far more than that, the spiritual talent judgment, that had not been used for a long time, was also activated. After the judgment talent is turned on, Su Lin's already vast spiritual soul power is even more powerful. The mark of the 9 silver moons behind him also flickered violently, and in the originally turbulent sky, the grand spectacle of 9 silver moons across the sky appeared again. At this time, no matter what Su Lin was thinking in his heart or his intuition, he still had uncontrollable thoughts. That is to leave a pure land that has never been destroyed for the wolves under his command, and also for this world. Following an indescribable wolf howl that could shake the sun, moon, mountains and rivers, over the entire southern mountain range that stretches for thousands of miles, there is a huge silver giant gathering together. The silver wolf roars into the sky. In this instant, I don't know how many huge meteorites falling from the sky were shattered. Besides, the most powerful beings in the world are all protecting the areas where their own ethnic groups are located at this time. Each of them showed their peak combat power at this moment. Because of faith, because of home, no, all the strongest species are here to survive, in order to maintain the greatest advantage of their own tribe under this catastrophe. Moreover, they all had the same intuition as Su Lin, unable to contain their disgust at the destructive power brought by the meteorite rain. India. On the top of the Buddhist sacred mountain, a bloodthirsty python that reached more than 1,000 meters was accompanied by a roar that shook hundreds of miles. It was covered in black and red fluorescence that filled the sky, evolving into a series of snake clones, and then like countless black and red lightnings, it headed towards the meteorite rain falling from the sky. Boom! This meteorite with a destructive aura is completely vulnerable to the black-red snake-shaped lightning. Piece after piece is broken. The 1,000-meter-long bloodthirsty python raised its huge snake body upright and looked up at the broken holes in the vast black fluorescent screen in the sky. Its black-red eyes were as cold as a 1,000-year cold pool. Then a pair of black and red eyes, like the fast golden eagle at the Science Alliance headquarters, shot out two indestructible divine lights. This divine light split the space in an instant, creating black gaps in the space. Boom! This divine light collided head-on with the aftermath of a world-destroying divine thunder. Both sides collided with each other with devastating arrogance, causing unimaginable energy fluctuations in mid-air. Holy Land Jerusalem. In the sky above the headquarters of the Theological Union, a huge beast in the sky that had turned blood red all over its body and entered an extremely violent state was also screaming at the top of its lungs. The color of huge bloody light shines between heaven and earth. The strange scene of the divine phoenix burning in the sky also appeared again, burning pieces of extraterrestrial meteorites into ashes. The fast golden eagle fights to the point of madness. As for the city of Jerusalem, there is a cage directly above it, a humanoid creature with wings on its back, shrouded in hazy fluorescence. This humanoid creature never made any violent movements, but the holy fluorescence emitted from its body was countless times more powerful than the bright sun gathered by Otis. Buzz! As the holy fluorescence trembled, countless meteorites flew towards them at extremely high speeds, carrying destructive flames, all of which were annihilated piece by piece. Even this humanoid creature shrouded in fluorescence can annihilate meteorites much faster than the speedy golden eagle, and the terrifying energy fluctuations emanating from its body are far superior to that of the speedy golden eagle. Even the death worm, that was captured alive by the speedy golden eagle some time ago, has become a sitting beast entrenched under this humanoid creature. The death worm also swallowed countless purple electric lights, destroying some small meteorites and energy aftermath that had slipped through the network, and maximizing the preservation of Jerusalem, the ancient Holy Land city of the three religions below. Besides, in the O area, the Sphinx in the pyramid area also seems to come alive. The huge Sphinx is radiating hot golden light all over its body. This golden light is so rich that it spreads for 10 miles. A purple gold eye appeared from this golden light. Behind this gaze, a pair of extremely terrifying eyes appeared. The purple pupils are dazzling and electric, and the power contained in these eyes makes all living beings fear and tremble in fear. Behind this purple gold eye, the golden light that spreads for 10 miles also started to move. They surged directly into the air and gathered into a giant sphinx of more than 3,000 meters. Roar! A huge roar that shook the heaven and earth resounded in mid-air, and countless meteorites flying towards Egypt were shattered in mid-air by this earth-shaking lion's roar. After this giant sphinx, dozens of living dead wrapped in stained white cloth and exuding extremely terrifying energy fluctuations appeared in the ancient pyramid. Pharaoh. These were the kings who once dominated this ancient land. Now they are all in the state of the living dead, but every pharaoh in the state of the living dead has the power to destroy mountains and shake mountains. These pharaohs also moved their limbs stiffly, floating in the air with the wind, and were arranged around. He chanted some obscure spells in his mouth, and moved his hands inflexibly with strange movements. In the end, a huge light network spread all over Egypt, blocking the scattered meteorite fragments and energy flow. As a result, the entire Egyptian region was not affected by this world-destroying meteorite rain. The mysterious iceberg at the pole of the North Pole also emits several vast energy fluctuations. These vast energy fluctuations did not fight as usual. Instead, they all worked together to form a vast barrier to protect an area with a radius of thousands of miles. These vast barriers are so strong that the pieces of extraterrestrial meteorites that hit them were reduced to pieces by the energy fluctuations. With the mysterious iceberg as the center, almost no one within 1,000 miles was affected. Exactly. The place of adventure guarded by the little lone wolf is also on the edge of this vast energy barrier, and has not been affected. He was just a little lone wolf with gray-purple hair. Looking at the meteorite rain falling from the sky, his eyes were full of shock, and he didn't know what was happening in this world. An existence at the level of little lone wolf has no idea what is going on. Even the vast whispers between heaven and earth cannot be felt. However, this kind of death threat that strikes the deepest part of his mind makes the little lone wolf, who has the most murderous and ferocious nature, no longer have the hysterical madness that became more and more hysterical and the more desperate the situation, because its keenest intuition and senses are telling it that this level of power game is not something that it can participate in at all. Not to mention participating, if you even touch it, you will be strangled in an instant until there is no trace left. In the place of adventure, a group of rock thunderbirds, mortal wolves, and residual ears that transformed into new species, as well as Tiffany, condors, evil tigers, etc., all looked up at the sky and felt this wave of energy. The extremely terrifying power and threat caused all the cells and muscles in his body to tremble. Even though they had experienced hundreds of battles, they couldn't control their bodies, and collapsed on the ground. At this time, except for these areas, in many areas, scenes of hell on earth are being staged, and there are also powerful beings who are trying their best to resist. There are things like the bloodthirsty python, the speedy golden eagle, the sphinx, the mysterious iceberg and Selene, etc. that shattered this world-destroying meteor shower. There are also people who have been buried under this meteorite rain. For example, the world-destroying Tancha monsters in the Changbai Mountains of the Dragon Kingdom want to protect this rich Changbai Mountains. In the end, after mobilizing the peak combat power of his whole body, and smashing more than 60 meteorites, he was exhausted and was killed on the top of Changbai Mountain by a giant meteorite, with a size of more than 300 meters square. But at the last moment before death, he still burned all the blood and life source in his body, turning into a giant barrier to protect the Changbai Mountains and the strange ethnic group. It's just that all this is wishful thinking. Even the barrier formed with all the blood and life essence was still unable to protect the Changbai Mountains. Dozens of meteorites shattered this barrier. Take it, the Changbai Mountains, which are not inferior to the southern mountains, are falling. Under the rain of stones, it turned into a land of death. But fortunately, the power of this meteorite rain, which seemed to be destroying the world, has been weakened too much after breaking through the vast black fluorescence gathered by the Earth's will. Therefore, under the strong efforts of the strongest beings in all major regions, large swaths of meteorite rain were shattered. There are still only a few powerful beings who have died in battle, and the vast whispers between heaven and earth are becoming increasingly clear in this unprecedented doomsday catastrophe. Struggle for crossing. All things are transcendent, and protect freedom. Species in today's era such as Selene have no idea what is happening in the world. From the beginning when I felt the mysterious power retreating to the current doomsday catastrophe, each of them is a passive participant, but the Theological Alliance, which publishes doomsday rhetoric, definitely knows something. Those strongest beings who have survived from ancient eras also know something. However, they are no different from Selene, bloodthirsty pythons and other species of the current era. They are all working together to resist this world-destroying meteorite rain. Strive for crossing, fight for crossing. At this time, in the mysterious iceberg, several extraordinary forces are becoming more and more powerful, and there is an extremely shocking spiritual will. 3 huge lights and shadows also appeared above the mysterious iceberg. These lights and shadows confronted each other for a moment, and finally they all joined forces to kill into the air. Because in addition to these meteorite showers, there is also the aftermath of the thousands-mile-long destructive lightning coming towards them. This 1,000-mile destructive lightning was like a meteor shower, and after it penetrated the black barrier, it dissipated too much power. But even if there is only some residual power, the power cannot be underestimated. Boom. Along with a huge sound of energy, 3 rays of light and shadow collided with the destructive lightning. The space of hundreds of miles around seemed to be trembling under the impact. At this time, such a scene is happening in many places. As for the many species that have been sheltered and survived, looking at this fantasy scene in mid-air, they don't know what happened. I don't know why the sky was so angry that it rained down such world-destroying meteorites, but they were all so frightened by this world-destroying power that they couldn't even move. Those humans who were sitting on high-rise buildings and originally wanted to watch the grand scene of the doomsday era, when they really saw this scene of world destruction, when they really felt the most direct death approaching, they were still afraid after all. They ran away crying and shouting. But facing such a world-destroying power, there is no way to escape. In an instant, countless high-rise buildings in the city were turned into living death after the rain of world-destroying meteorites fell. All species in this dead land were reduced to pieces after being swept away by the destructive aura above the meteorite rain. There are also bits and pieces of shining essence in these powders. This is the purest essence of spirituality. As more cities and lives are destroyed by the meteorite rain, more and more of these little bits of spiritual essence are gathered. In the end, It turned out to be a long flowing river of essence. Every river of essence is formed by harvesting the lives of hundreds of millions of species, but these rivers of essence are so numerous that it is unimaginable, because dead species often need to be calculated in units of hundreds of millions. Looking around the world now, the earth is cracking, mountains and rivers are crumbling, and the once prosperous cities have become a thing of the past. At this moment, no words can describe the tragedy. Purgatory on earth, doomsday catastrophe. Boom, accompanied by a shocking loud noise. A destructive 1,000-mile purple thunder fell directly on Manhwa continent, because there was no powerful being to compete with it. The countries of Mo and Ba were torn apart almost instantly, and were wiped out by this destructive force. All species here, totaling at least tens of billions, would die in an instant. Boom. There was another loud noise, and a devastating purple thunder light descended on the Pacific Ocean. A huge tsunami was set off across the entire ocean. The waves were thousands of meters long, as if the sea water was standing upside down. The ocean has the most diverse species, several times or even dozens of times more than on land. Nowadays, the vast Pacific Ocean is also under the impact of this devastating lightning, and countless species have died. There are long rivers of spiritual essence, floating together from the sea. One of the spiritual essence rivers is tens of thousands of meters long, rolling like a real river. The fragility of life is beyond words at this time. Under the destructive lightning and meteorite rain, all living things are humbler than ants. Areas of destruction were destroyed, and only those hidden deep in underground facilities could be spared. And it is an extremely solid underground facility. Otherwise, the vibrations and shock waves caused by the meteorite rain would be no less than the largest nuclear weapon in mankind. At this moment, members of all races were praying in fear, hoping for a miracle to come to help them escape their suffering. Members of each race also hope that their king can lead them out of this catastrophe, and lead them to continue to survive as he did in the past. But the kings of some small ethnic groups are only at the level of high-level king beasts, or extreme king beasts. They are only slightly stronger than the members of the tribe under their command. Those who have not reached the world-destroying level of combat power, and those who do not have the strongest underground safety facilities, will not survive at all. However, some of the extreme beasts, with fighting power, also want to fight for a better future for the tribe. But even if he mobilized his peak combat power, he still couldn't resist a meteorite falling from the sky. Boom! With a loud noise that shook the world, the ultimate king beast turned into a pool of blood, and even the spiritual essence of the blood was purified from the blood that far exceeded that of ordinary species. After the clan's royal capital died in battle, the members of these small clans were naturally all taken away by the spreading shock wave. One ethnic group after another is perishing like this. As hundreds of millions of creatures died, black-red rain fell from the sky, as if the heaven and earth were crying, "What happened? Why is this happening? Why is the so-called doomsday era of theological union so terrifying?" There is a new type of human being wearing a perfect mecha, with high self-control. They walked out of the underground Great Wall a few days ago, but now they are facing death. He looked at the rain of meteorites falling from the sky, running away and wailing at the same time. He has no idea what is happening in this world. It was clear that the sky was clear yesterday, but why did it change to this situation today, where all living beings are destroyed? Ah, why is this? Is the will of the earth destroying the world? Or is this extraterrestrial meteorite the force that destroyed us humans, and the age of dinosaurs? Andrea, who once ranked first in the ranking of new human beings, is also roaring to the sky. He originally saw that for more than 10 days, there was no movement in the world, so he walked out of the strongest fortress, intending to hunt some powerful beasts to use as pure energy for his breakthrough again. But I never thought that the day after I stepped out of the strongest fortress, this apocalyptic disaster would come. Even Andrea, who has reached the ultimate king level combat power, and is wearing the ultimate mecha, still looks extremely small in this doomsday catastrophe. His combat power, which could compete with half-step world-destroying beasts, looked so pale and weak among the falling meteorites. Andrea had fled for hundreds of miles and finally escaped back to the strongest fortress. The strongest fortress that could be built from the strongest carbon block material was cracked by a falling meteorite, and now there's another huge meteorite hitting this way. Once it falls, I am afraid that this strongest fortress will no longer be able to withstand the impact and will shatter instantly, and all the millions of humans inside will die. So Andrea, whose physical strength and original power were about to bottom out during the rapid speed, stopped running away. He activated the strongest talent of fighting for his life, and also burned his blood and life source, and then drove the ultimate mecha to rush towards the meteorite falling rapidly in mid-air. Boom. With a roaring sound, the meteorite fell into pieces, and there was no more Andrea in the world. The human camp is also missing a monster genius, who can enter the world-destroying level of combat power in the future. The shattered meteorite still carries a destructive aura, and wherever it falls, it turns into a land of death. But in the end, it failed to cause a huge impact on the strongest fortress, and millions of humans inside survived. At this time in the apocalypse, the most puzzling thing is human beings, because many ethnic groups in nature and the ocean have always been in a difficult situation to survive. So when faced with such a huge change in the world, the most I can feel is panic and not much emotion. They have been struggling for survival for a long time, and have lived a precarious life. Only humans, who are the hegemons of the world, are the most helpless when facing such a horrific catastrophe. Even the humans hiding in the Great Wall underground were filled with shock after seeing such a horrific catastrophe. On the latest reflector projection screen, many people in power from major forces have lost their calmness in the past. Now they are sitting in front of this projection screen. Their eyes are dull and lifeless, because even they have no idea how to face such a catastrophe. Many people even think that the once prosperous dinosaur family was also extinct in this way, right? And the panic caused by the doomsday catastrophe has also begun to spread among humans on the underground Great Wall and the strongest fortress. But just when these human beings hiding in the strongest fortresses and underground Great Walls are so panicked that they don't know how to face this doomsday catastrophe, at the cost of the death of hundreds of millions of living beings, the long rivers of spiritual essence gathered together rose from the ground and the sea, gradually rising higher into the sky. Some of these rivers of spiritual essence have already broken through the scattered atmosphere and floated into outer space from the broken holes in the black fluorescent barrier, and other rivers of spiritual essence that have not yet ascended have also attracted the attention of the most powerful beings in this world. In addition to protecting their respective areas from being destroyed by these meteorite rains, they also took action to compete for the spiritual essence rivers if they had the spare capacity, because the source of energy and life contained in this long river of spiritual essence is beyond imagination. Any section of it can be used to treat various source injuries, and even the lost source of life can be replenished. This is a miracle medicine that can be called heaven-defying. In addition, the vast amount of pure energy can also support their strength to reach a higher peak again. So looking at these rivers of spiritual essence, after the bloodthirsty python had just dealt with the aftermath of a devastating purple thunder, it controlled the black and red fluorescent snake shadow to crush the meteorite, while it began to move quickly to intercept the nearest river of spiritual essence. Boom. It's just the black and red color emitted by the bloodthirsty python. Colorful fluorescence. As soon as it touched this spiritual river, it immediately triggered a violent resistance. However, this long river of spiritual essence is just resisting unconsciously. But between the heaven and the earth, there are destructive forces spreading from other meteorites, converging towards this side, blocking the bloodthirsty python from obtaining the spiritual essence. The meteorite fragments shattered by the black-red snake fluorescence split by the bloodthirsty python are also flying towards this side. Hiss. It's just that the bloodthirsty python, which is already ranked first among the mutated creatures in the current era, is so powerful that it is too shocking. A loud roar shattered the flying meteorite fragments. The snake body, which is more than 1,000 meters long, is emitting black and red fluorescence all over the sky. These black fluorescence seem to be resonating with the entire world. The power of resonance is so huge that it seems to carry the rules of space, causing the destructive power that is gathered to be annihilated inch by inch. But the bloodthirsty python has obtained a long river of spiritual essence, and it has not stopped yet. It is still heading towards another long river of spiritual essence nearby. At the same time, the other powerful beings in this world are also competing for the nearby spiritual essence river over the theological union, relying on its unparalleled speed. The fast golden eagle began to quickly intercept the nearest streams of spiritual essence. As for the meteorite rain that destroys the world, it is blocked by the light and shadow of humanoid wings and death worms the far north. The extraordinary power in the mysterious iceberg once again transformed into 3 huge light and shadow clones, competing for the nearest dozens of spiritual essences. Egypt, North Africa, after the giant sphinx, which was more than 3,000 meters tall, shattered the meteorites falling in mid-air, it began to suck in all the pure energy from all around like a whale swallowing it. Several rivers of spiritual essence within a radius of hundreds of miles were also sucked in. Southern mountains. The huge silver wolf formed by the convergence of Selin's spiritual power and original power was howling and shattering the meteorites falling at high speed, and his body swayed, and at a speed unparalleled in the world. He began to intercept the long river of spiritual essence, rising and floating near the southern mountains. Even though the Siberian plains and Mongolian areas near the southern mountains have long been hunted and expanded by wolves, there are more than billions of species large and small, in these areas that have not yet surrendered to wolves. The Siberian plains and Mongolian grasslands near the southern mountains are areas with the most diverse species. Now, under the annihilating meteorite, all these species have died and turned into a long river of spiritual essence. Centered on the southern mountains, there are more than 20 rivers of spiritual essence spanning thousands of miles. With a range of more than 1,000 miles, this long river of spiritual essence has more. These long rivers of spiritual essence are enough to make any powerful being red-eyed. The pure energy contained in any long river of spiritual essence far exceeds the sum of the bright sun debris and divine substances that Selin obtained in the Gobi Desert last time. Not to mention that it contains even rarer sources of life. Although this is a long river of spiritual essence that was gathered together after hundreds of millions of species died. But death is death after all. All the most powerful beings are cold-blooded people. They don't have the compassion of mothers-in-law and mothers, and it's impossible that they can't bear to intercept these rivers of spiritual essence as blood food in the future because of any so-called kindness for this long river of spiritual essence. They have mobilized their combat power to its peak to intercept it. Even some of the most powerful beings who do not belong to this era cannot recover to their peak due to various restrictions. But in order to obtain stronger strength, in order to intercept these long rivers of spiritual essence, he still burned all the divine substances around him. Disasters and opportunities coexist. Yes, these long rivers of spiritual essence that were gathered together after hundreds of millions of dead species are clearly opportunities. It sounds cold-blooded, but it's the truth. In this world, many times the lives of the weak are the most worthless. Along with the interception of the long river of spiritual essence, the energy fluctuations of the strongest existences in this world are becoming more and more terrifying. Their confrontation with meteorites and destructive auras falling from the sky became increasingly fierce. In this tragedy, some of the strongest beings fell one after another. However, most of them are those that have just recovered, because they do not belong to this era in the first place, and they have already sacrificed too much to survive. Now, facing this unprecedented catastrophe, even if the divine substances around the body are burned, the combat power still cannot reach the peak state. They originally wanted to intercept a long river of spiritual essence to recover, but in the end they were completely torn apart by the destructive aura. Even his own blood, soul, and life origin were crushed by the destructive aura, purifying the spiritual essence equivalent to tens of millions of ordinary species. In such an unprecedented catastrophe, no one can guarantee that they will not perish. Even if it is the strongest existence that stands in every era, it is still like this. At this time, in the sky above the city of Jerusalem, the holy land of the three religions, the whole body is covered with blood-red golden eagles, and the spectacle of the divine phoenix burning in the sky behind is even more intense. The energy fluctuations emitted were even stronger than when he was fighting with Selin in the Gobi Desert. It can be seen from this that the strength of the speedy golden eagle has indeed made new breakthroughs after returning. It's just that even though the speedy golden eagle once again broke through in strength after intercepting several streams of spiritual essence, because there was too much aura of destruction gathered, it still couldn't bear it. Bang! Along with the dull sound, the wings of the speedy golden eagle, which can withstand all technological weapons, were also eroded by the destructive aura, and large areas of blood-red wings began to fall off. Fortunately, the speed of the golden eagle is too powerful. After he stopped intercepting the remaining spiritual essence, and began to expel this destructive aura with all his strength, it didn't take long to eliminate the destructive aura eroding around him. Then the fast golden eagle flattened its wings and flew again, intercepting the long river of spiritual essence further away. Because these rivers of spiritual essence are the biggest opportunities in this doomsday catastrophe, it is also the hope for these powerful beings to climb to a higher peak in the future. No supreme being would despise these spiritual essences. All the strongest beings around the world were driven crazy by the doomsday catastrophe. At this time, in this world, in the rain of meteorites falling, in the tragedy of lost life, in the supreme existence mobilizing the ultimate combat power to fight to the point of madness, time is also passing by quietly. The rule of time is the most ruthless rule in the world. Even if the heaven and the earth change, the mountains and rivers are broken, and all living things are destroyed, they cannot interfere with it in the slightest. I don't know how long passed, and I don't know how many days and nights passed. In short, the sky was obscured by a blood-red mist formed from the blood of billions of species. No sunshine, no warmth. The world seemed to be dead silent everywhere. Everything has become history, and almost all living creatures have been destroyed. The beautiful world that was once full of vitality and full of infinite hope has disappeared forever. The rain of world-destroying meteorites in the sky has long since disappeared. Only the countless broken holes in the vast black fluorescent barrier on the horizon are left, struggling to recover. Under this unprecedented catastrophic meteorite rain, more than 90% of the species on the Earth were almost wiped out. Yes, more than 90% of the species. This even exceeds the tragedy of the Cretaceous mass extinction. The surviving species are basically some humans hiding in the Great Underground Wall, the strongest fortress, Noah's Ark, and private underground facilities. Yes, some humans, because even these underground facilities were destroyed to an unknown extent by the rain of world-destroying meteorites. Two-thirds of the world's strongest fortresses were shattered, not to mention some private underground facilities. A total of 6 to 7 billion human beings, 70% of which were wiped out in this catastrophe. Even as a world overlord, and 70% of humanity, which had also prepared countless doomsday measures, was wiped out. You can imagine the casualties of other races under this catastrophe. Countless trillions of various ethnic groups, plants, insects and invisible microorganisms, large and small, died together. The ecological environment of the Earth has been completely destroyed. It became a ruined planet without any light and extremely silent. It's just the stubborn will of the Earth that is still working hard to restore the broken holes in the black barrier, and is still restoring the ecological environment of the Earth. But if you want to fully recover, you don't know how many years it will take. Endless darkness enveloped the Earth, and a cold atmosphere permeated the world. The green mountains, the turbulent sea, the endless grasslands, etc. have all become a thing of the past. Even the most powerful beings, who once fought against the doomsday catastrophe, disappeared at the moment when the meteorite rain dissipated. Some of the most powerful beings died in this catastrophe, and some of the most powerful beings intercepted many rivers of spiritual essence, and brought them back to their own ethnic group's territory. Without the figures and energy fluctuations of these powerful beings, the world has almost fallen into deathly silence. There is no trace of life fluctuations, only endless darkness and coldness. In this endless darkness and coldness, even the species that survived in the sheltered areas of the strongest beings were trembling, and hiding in their own caves and lairs, not daring to move at all. In addition, there are still residual destructive auras between heaven and earth. These auras have blown up terrifying storms on the broken land, sweeping every corner of the world. Those species that do not have the protection of the strongest existence, and are lucky enough to survive, are being destroyed for the second time. It's just that after these destructive breath storms hit the areas protected by the most powerful beings, they were all washed away by the energy fluctuations spread by the most powerful beings. And these most powerful beings are now recovering, and adjusting in their respective regions and ethnic groups, because even they suffered a lot of trauma in the doomsday catastrophe. Whether it is physical strength, original power, mental will, etc. They are all depleted too much. With their size at this level, once there is too much wear and tear, it is extremely difficult to return to their peak in a short period of time. Even if there is a long river of intercepted spiritual essence, it can only speed up the recovery several times at most, but cannot restore it immediately. After all, it took more than a year for the invincible tiger, who was only a high-level king at the time, to recover from his injuries and reach his peak strength, not to mention these powerful beings, who are truly like gods. At this time, Su Lin, whose hair was stained with blood, had already returned to the southern mountains from mid-air. He mobilized some of his last spiritual power, and after placing hundreds of spiritual marks around the southern mountains for protection, he entered the main cave of the wolves in a flash. Other ordinary species do not know how long this apocalyptic catastrophe lasted, but Su Lin, who has personally fought this world-destroying meteorite rain, knows that this meteorite rain lasted for about 3 days and 3 nights. After dozens of hours of continuous struggle and interception of the spiritual essence, even with Su Lin's strength, he had almost exhausted his physical strength, original power, and mental soul power. This was the first fierce battle Su Lin had ever encountered that could reach such an extent. Even a few years ago, when he encountered the mixed-haired wolf king commanding 100 wolves to hunt, he never fought so fiercely. Su Lin used up 3 recovery potions and 1 blood-burning potion. You can imagine how hard he went. When he finally intercepted the 12th river of spiritual essence, almost all the destructive auras in a radius of more than 2,000 miles were attacking him. At this most critical moment, even if Su Lin forcibly activated his hunting talent several times, he could not resist these destructive auras. In the end, it was through the combination of the blood-burning potion and the hunting talent, coupled with the incredible healing talent, that I finally managed to kill him. However, he was also severely injured, and his origin was also injured. If you want to recover as before, I am afraid it will take a long time, with the help of spiritual essence. Now, Sulin's original power, spiritual soul power and physical strength have all been exhausted. It can be said that this is the time when he is at his weakest. The combat power is only slightly stronger than the ordinary world-destroying level, but fortunately, most of the strongest beings in this world are in the same state as Sulin, because it is not easy for anyone to withstand this apocalyptic meteorite rain. Nowadays, the most powerful ones are basically recuperating from their injuries in their respective areas. Even some of the strongest beings, who were slightly injured, did not take advantage of the loneliness of all things to go out and sweep away, because there is still a devastating storm raging outside. Even if beings of their level want to travel long distances to hunt in the face of a devastating storm, they need to consume a huge amount of physical strength, source power, etc. At this time, after Su Lin returned to the cave, all members of the wolf pack, who felt the Wolf King's weak aura, looked over. For dozens of hours, even if they were hiding in the cave, they had already felt the terrifying aura of destruction and extremely powerful fluctuations outside. The destructive breath order and terrifying energy fluctuations made them feel the fear radiating from their bones and genes. This kind of timidity and fear are completely out of their control, just like a young mouse encountering a crazy cat. It also looks like pigs and dogs waiting to be slaughtered on the farm, like a demon butcher with bloody hands. So they are afraid that the Wolf King will be severely damaged outside. After all, the Wolf King is the spiritual belief of the entire wolf pack, and the key to the unity of the entire wolf pack. Once something happens to the Wolf King, then I am afraid that the huge wolf pack that embraces all rivers will fall apart in an instant.
Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.